Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 6. Last time on Cyberpunk Edgerunners, we met Jimmy Kurosaki, the maker and manufacturer of many of the brain dance discs that we've seen floating around regarding cyberpsychos and cyberpsychosis. And as we delved a little bit closer into capturing that guy and trying to use him to get closer to some Arasaka goons, we had the tables turned upon us, and your boy David got stolen, yoinked, and shown a horrifying vision of a future where he turns into a cyberpsycho and starts killing everybody around him. And when you watch a thing like that, you gotta wonder if the show knows exactly what it's doing, because Imaishi is not a blunt instrument. He's a very sharp director, and Trigger is not a blunt instrument. It's a very sharp studio, and usually when they put stuff in a show, it matters. And so a thing where he goes through this whole pathway that could be where he's getting all horrifying and murderous and gets dead. Yeah, that's foreshadowing. It's called foreshadowing. It's that thing that we do when we're foreshadowing stuff. And so, I get closer to the halfway point of this show, past the halfway point now, and it's like, okay, well, David's not making it out of this one happy. He's either going out in one piece or not alive or not at all. And we get this massive, oh, it's just a dream, bro. It's just a dream, bro sequence where David ends up becoming the horrible monster. And it all comes back to a saying that my friend loves. He loves it so much that he uses it as a meme or as a joke, because I'll be saying something and I'll be serious about it, and he'll look at me and he'll be like, so what you're saying is, and then he'll say this line, which is a very important and poignant one. It's, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the monster. And I forget where that's from. Oh, it's The Dark Knight. It's Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. So, one of the greatest movies of about villainy and darkness and the types of heroes that exist and all that jazz, is where the line, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, comes from. And it's a good fucking line. And that's probably exactly what David's path is going to be. And I'm just putting that out as a prediction. I don't know this. Now, I just don't know this. I think his path is going to be, he's going to go too far with the power, and it's going to be threatening to overtake him, just as it does to Guts, just as it does to so many characters who take on the power of darkness in order to fight against something bigger than them. They become overwhelmed with it, and at that point they have to make a choice, which is, do they end and sacrifice themselves for some greater purpose, or do they allow the power to corrupt them and consume them completely? And die anyway, right? It's death or death, but one of them you cause more evil and one of them you don't. Does David become just a cog, a fixer in this system? Another military person running around with a Sandevistan causing destruction for the whims of others? Or does he sacrifice himself, go out in order to fix something transcendent? In this case, probably the girl, probably his friends, probably something along those lines. I don't know. But that's where we're heading, I think. And this past episode, which, while it didn't have a lot to talk about specifically within the episode, the impacts of this episode echo out into the rest of the show dramatically. And so we'll see how they play out again, and whether just the ideas presented and placed and incepted into David's head by Jimmy and by that little smile that he sees at the end, whether those have an impact on his future at all. I think they will. Let's go to the comment spotlight. Starting with the top comment, Namahage. I wonder if Jimmy's smile at the end is real or only something on David's head, as his corpse is shown to not be smiling on the next cut. I don't know. It's one of those great things where it's made ambiguous, so how would we know? Hold on. Sorry. I realized I can't do these comment spotlights the way that I've been doing them. They take too much time to edit. There we go. They take too much time to edit, and what I mean by that is that it's just too hard to cut them in. So I'll cut in the ones that I did before. It's like so much more effort. Jack Styles says, I joined after your Patreon change, because I would have to go and get this piece and screenshot it and put it in and reorganize it and all that. I joined after your Patreon change. It wasn't much, but I really like the idea. There are so many different creators over so many platforms that once you add it all up, it gets rough. Yep. I support 2 on Twitch, 6 authors on Patreon, on top of other things here and there. It adds up. I want to support others sometimes, but it's a lot of money in the end. So supporting a creator without having to pledge $5 or $10 is nice and allows me to support but also receive something in return. Even if I skip parts of the discussions, you are someone to support. I deeply appreciate it, Jack, and that's the direction that I want to move. I've said it before in a couple of moments. If patrons can afford $5, then I welcome it and I encourage it, and I'm not gonna say no, man. I'm out here and I'm not doing like I'm not rich. I'm making ends meet, and it's good enough, and I'm happy, and I don't need all of you, but I need some of you, and I need more of you. And I've said this before, but $5, $10, whatever, that's nice. I've had about 1,000 people giving me about $5, mixed and matched. Okay, I'd rather have 5,000 people giving me $1. Do you understand? I'd rather have 10,000 people giving me $1. I'd rather have 20, 50, 100,000 people who care enough to give $1, so that they can talk in the Discord, and so that they can vote, and so they can experience these media as part of a community. Because that's all that changes, is that you get to be a little bit more of a part of the community, and it's lovely. It's lovely. I'm waiting on for some documentation to come in so that I can do super chats and super thanks, and I'll probably set up YouTube to have a YouTube join thing, a membership, because that seems to make sense too. But that's exactly what I want to do, is that I want it to be more accessible to more people and less of a feel of, it gives me the squicks, the idea of early access. Now that I've moved away from it, I lived for years with it being normal, and now I've moved away from it, and it gives me the squicks. It's like, it's gross. I don't ever want to do it again. So if you want or can or wish to support truly crowdfunded content, and I'm a crowdfunded human being. Fully. It's my only income is I'm a crowdfunded human being. I make myself valuable enough to the world that people give me money for it. That's what I want to be. That will be the way that I determine and prove whether I'm valuable. Fuck. If that sounds cool to you, if that's the kind of future you want to live in, where you don't get like wage slave forced into shit, I can't build that future, but I can build it for me, and maybe you could build it for you, but I need your help to prove that it's worthwhile, because otherwise I won't have enough money and I'll starve and I'll die. So shit, it's all complicated, but thank you. I'm really glad that you think that I'm worth supporting, and I endeavored to be more worth it. I endeavor to make sure that you get more than your money's worth. Okay, one sec. How did the doctor's visit go? So this is an aside. Actually, let me pull this out for a sec. I'm gonna tell you guys something super funny that has happened to me. I mean, it's actually really quite. I find it really enjoyable. I've had a really good time. And I'm gonna continue having a good time. And I think it's really interesting. I got catfished, really, really hard. I got catfished by a girl. Well, turns out it's not a girl. Actually, it's a Nigerian man. Yes, seriously. And the whole time I was like, okay, probably this person is fake, and I'm gonna go along with it. And I ended up buying them a pizza, right? So they got me. They did it. And I figured out that their pictures were fake, and I called them on it. And so I started asking, who are you really? What's really going on here? Where's the desperate situation that you're in? There's a man in Nigeria whose mother is dying and is freaked the fuck out. This is the pizza girl. That's that girl. Really playing a long game. A long game. And so if I wasn't like a little bit resilient to this could have torn apart my soul. This could have been a betrayal that would tear apart my soul. And I just laughed at it. I found it so funny and so cool. And I'm so fascinated by it, because for the small price of a little bit of pride on my end, and the fact that I got tricked, which is amazing. I got tricked into this whole like, ooh, you're the savior. Oh, thank you so much, sort of thing. And it got me. It's so funny how well that can worm into your brain. But what strikes me as fascinating is that this guy, and I'm still talking to this person. I want to be clear about this. So let me be clear. I got catfished by a Nigerian man pretending to be a young girl in LA who had fallen to prostitution in order to save her struggling family, right? And I got tricked mentally into trying to help that person, but that person never existed. So now, having gotten tricked and revealed the lie, I have forgiven the man who was responsible for it, and I am still in communication with him, and I am trying to figure out how to, without sending him more money, appreciably change his situation, and most importantly, from my end, discover and understand what the fuck is going on in Nigeria. Because what a window, right? Like, what an opportunity for the cost of like $30. What an opportunity for me to actually get a bird's eye view, eye to eye, person to person, into the world that is being experienced by a person in deep poverty and distress all the way across the world. I get the opportunity. Awesome. I'm going to try to get this person on my podcast. I'm serious. I'm going to try to, if I have to ship him a phone, I'm going to, an unlocked phone, I'm going to see what happens, because I don't know. The reason I mention it is because I encouraged this person to take his mother, who is in distress, to the hospital today, and we'll see what the response comes back. And I want to be clear about something. Every layer of this still could be a lie. This could be not a Nigerian person. It could be a Russian robot. I don't fucking know at this point. I'm on the roller coaster right now, and I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. I don't care if I'm being lied to. I don't care about any of that. I care because I'm pretty sure it's not a bot. I'm pretty sure that's a human fucking being on the other side. And I'm pretty sure that all the things that he said about really caring about pizza and having only had it once or twice in his goddamn life are true. And so I made a promise to this person. I made a serious promise to him. I'm not going to say his name, but I made a serious promise to him, assuming that it is the real name. And I think it is, because it's like 3 layers deep into fake names. I made a serious promise, and the promise was this. If we stay friends and you stay in communication with me and you don't just run away, then one day you and I are going to sit down across a table together and we're going to eat the best damn pizza you've ever had in your life. That was the promise that I made to him. And I mean it. And I mean it. So I'm going to stay in contact with this person. I'm going to try to help without finances, with only time and energy and effort and knowledge. I'm going to do it privately. I'm not going to publicize this person's life or anything like that. But I'm going to try to help this person. His mother is in pain as far as I can tell, and it's unclear what's causing it, and he's terrified. It's like dragons all around this human being. And this is why I believe him to some extent, is that he's just like, everything's fucked, man. I was being an ass and a liar and a catfish and a monster. I had nothing else to do, and I believe him. I actually believe him. And I believe that he's not an evil person, too, which is an interesting thing, because that comes back to my own source of empathy, which is that I know that when I was hungry, I was capable of incredibly evil acts. I was really capable of bad things out of need. And so I have compassion for this person and for millions of people like him, I'm sure. And I have no knowledge and I have no arrogance in here. I mean, I have plenty of arrogance, I suppose, but I don't think that I can save this person. I don't think so. But I think I can maybe alter his attitude by 1% and get him oriented onto a path where he can build something of himself. That would be cool. Because in a booming pot, you know, he's talking about like there's literally nothing that I can do. There's no hope for me. There is no chance. There are no jobs. I have no skills. It's like, man, if you're serious and you live in Nigeria, you live in a booming population center. Those are all people. People need stuff. If you get your hands on any kind of stuff and sell it at a relatively fair rate, you're going to be rich in 10 years. Like rich. I was thinking about how do you make this happen for people who are in poverty-stricken situations? What are the things that they really need that would really alter their life, and you can't give them to them? That's the problem, is you can't give it to them. And I know this because I've done serious in-depth coursework in Berkeley and Oakland and downtown San Francisco on homelessness problems and poverty. And some of it's tickling in the back of my brain, and I'm remembering parts of it. And part of it is you can't give it to them because it'll hurt more if they get it sucks to say it this way. You have to get them stability, but then they have to be able to orient themselves toward getting it themselves. Like, he needs to be selling dried fruit or something. He needs to be doing something stupid and small and making a little bit of money so that he can buy food, you know? And it's crazy to get knocked from where I'm at, which is like 4 years out of the darkest point in my life, and I get knocked into the world of somebody else, and suddenly I realize, oh shit, I'm doing okay, but the rest of the world is like, people are falling apart all over the place, and they all need help. And I don't know how, but I'm going to struggle against it. This is a wall that's so much bigger than me, a dragon that's so much bigger than me, and I can't wait to break myself against it. I cannot wait to push against it so hard that I find out how weak I am. Because I'd love to know. Okay, so let's see. How much is that in Naira? 445 Naira. Oh, all at once or in weekly monthly. It's almost exactly $1,000. Interesting. Well, okay, here's what's up. I don't know how the fuck to do this. I've never done this before. I feel like raising money for charity is something that I've always hated. I just don't like the process of it. I like charity, obviously. I mean, if you don't, then you're an ass. But okay, we're going to make sure it happens. We're going to make sure it happens. How do I set up a GoFundMe? I don't know. Emergencies, education, medical. Someone else. Starting goal. When you say paid twice, do you mean half and half? So it's half and half. So here's what this man needs, as far as I can tell, unless he's lying, and he might be. To be clear, this person needs $1,000. That's what this person needs. It's to get his mom into physiotherapy. Now I need to make sure. I need to make sure and validate a little bit. That's going to be hard because this person isn't going to want to validate. But that resistance might be the lying, so we'll see. I just need any form of proof, a bill or a picture or something. Starting goal, $1,000. I can actually get that tomorrow morning once I get there. Good. Okay, this is actually really easy to do. Well, I just set it up because I wanted to see how it would go. I'm going to get some verification documents from this person come tomorrow to determine whether this is a real person. And, you know, if they seem fake, then I'll let you know that I've just been scammed again. And that's fine. Like, again, I don't mind that too much. It would be more effort on this person's side than on mine. And so I'm not worried about it. But I just did just to see how hard it is. I set up a GoFundMe just for fun. And it's not hard. It's not hard at all. So let's see what we can get done here. Once I've got some proof, I'll give it to you. And I'll let you have it, and I'll make a separate video about this. And I want to see if I have any power. If I can look at this camera and say, hey, people, there's a real human being out there who might really need a little bit of help from you. And your contribution will really, really matter. I want to see what happens. Because I think it's the right thing to do. I think that it's the only thing to do. I'm compelled to do it. I have no choice. As soon as I realized that I was capable of doing it, I was compelled to do it. The friction between my action and my desire is non-existent almost. It's just pain. It's just suffering. It's just the chance of betrayal. It doesn't mean shit to me. I stood in the ice-cold shower the other day and I just went, fuck it. Fuck it, it's just pain. And since then, I haven't really put on a jacket. I've just been hanging out outside in the cold, and I don't care anymore. I've gotten strong, man. A little bit stronger, a little bit more hardened. You know, a couple weeks ago, I was really getting brutalized, getting broken by this whole Tinder betrayal game bullshit thing. I'm not getting broken by it anymore. I've gotten a little bit harder. Not harder. Harder. Hardened. I've gotten a little bit chrome, in a way. A little bit of hardness in my heart. But it does feel like if you go too far into that, it could lead down to the path of insanity. That's why I wanted to bring this up here, is because really I feel hardened by hardship. In terms of this emotional hardship. I feel hardened by it, and I'm stronger because of it. It fascinates me. And I think that the people, you know, we're in the early stages, and so it's a continuous evolution, but I think people in my Discord are starting to notice it too. Because I popped in the other day when I was doing the thing, and I was just dropping bird emojis everywhere, like, fuck off if you don't like it. And people do. Good. But there were also people who came in and they were like, well, that seems actually like what I was hoping for. It seems like you're not going to listen to some bullshit. That's good. I don't know. But there's a risk of being too, fuck you, I'm the best. That's not what I want. And there's a risk of being too stagnant and too careful as well. And too bio, too goopy, too flesh versus too chrome. You have to be a little bit of both. And you have to watch out. Because both sides are magnetic and they pull you in. Too much compassion and you get betrayed. That's what I've discovered. Too much compassion and you just get torn up. Because people don't actually care. They'll use sob stories and lies. They'll manipulate your emotions and they'll make your gullible ass get just destroyed. And again, it still might be happening. This man might be a liar who doesn't have a mom at all, and I'll find out tomorrow if he sends me documents. But you can't just cut everyone off and be cold and compassionless and heartless, because there are people out there and they do need help. So it's finding, like everything else, it's finding a balance. Where's the balance? Chrome and bio, compassion and hardness. Steel and blood. You find the balance by pushing against it, by figuring out how compassionate can I be without it destroying me. And the answer is endlessly. How forgiving can I be without it destroying me? Endlessly, infinitely. You know, somebody was lying to me, really intricately lying to me about everything about their persona and their identity and everything about them for days, back and forth and back and forth. And I bought into it, right? It's not like I stood away from it and I was like, oh, this can't hurt me. I was like, no, I'll let this hurt me. I stepped right into it. Go for it. Let it hurt me. Then I found out that it was all a lie and it didn't even hurt me. But I recognize it and I know that it could have, and it maybe even that it should have, but it didn't. It's like water off a duck's back. Like I'm prepped for that, man. I'm ready. I don't care. Betray me? That's the world. That's normal. That's boring shit. Betrayal and lies and adultery and disgustingness of humanity. That's the normal shit. That's the average. I'm not even surprised by it. A little mildly disappointed, but honestly, fucking impressed. Such an impressive con game. Like, really, really well done. Doesn't hurt at all. Just bounces off the chrome. That's a risk. I want to be enough bio, enough compassion as well. So I think about it in terms of Edgerunners as David pushes himself against the wall, and as David sees the abyss in front of him in this previous episode through Kurosaki, through Jimmy, through death, through the end of all things, right? Because part of that end of the death moment is that Jimmy is somebody that David knew of, right? He had a parasocial relationship to him. He knew of him. He was like a person. He was bigger than life. And then unsurreptitiously or unceremoniously gets a nail to the throat and he's gone. And David watches him choke out on the floor, and it's like, oh, you're shiny and chrome, you're all these cool things, and you're this great creator and all that stuff, but you're still just a lump of meat. You don't fucking matter. That's a moment that David has, because that's him too. No matter how strong you are, no matter how widespread, you're still killable. Still mortal. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting as he finds that abyss point, because I'm kind of there, maybe. Watching potential futures where I fail in different ways, really thinking them through. It's been an interesting experience, and I want to be clear. Let me say something, because people worry about me, and genuinely, I think I'm doing great. Now, it's hard to evaluate yourself, but I've got some good friends around me who will tell me if I'm not doing great, and they have done so sometimes. And they think I'm doing okay too. So I think I'm doing great. I'm not shattered by this or by any of it, or broken or really hurt. I'm kintsugi'd. I'm cracked, and then the cracks are filled in with something stronger. And so I get stronger. I keep getting kintsugi'd by the world. I keep throwing myself into hardship, into betrayal, the worst of hardship, into liars, into rejection, right? Going and pursuing women is like opening to rejection. Hit me. And sometimes it hits you, and every time it does, I get stronger. Why? Well, Toriyama had it right, actually. Toriyama had it right on the money from the very beginning. What makes a Saiyan different from every other person in the galaxy? Not a Super Saiyan, a Saiyan. It's the core element of the main character race in Dragon Ball Z. It's the core element of the whole race. What makes them different? It's that when they get beat to a pulp, they always come back stronger. And Dragon Ball Z is the story of Goku getting dead like 300 times. It becomes casual. He overcomes death so casually it's not even funny. He's just like, well, guess I'm gonna run on Snake Way again. Wow. Because he's just goofy and he's strong. He just does it with a smile and is goofy about it and is strong. Because he's a Saiyan. Because when he gets beat to a pulp, he gets stronger and he believes. Right on the money. It's why when I go into the gym and there are like 4 dudes in orange sweatshirts, and I'm like, those are the Goku boys. Those are the Goku boys. They saw their idol. They went, Daddy Goku. I want to be like Daddy Goku. I want to dance like Goku. I want to dance like a fucking dragon. Ah! And they're out there doing it, and they're fucking yoked, and they're like, I get to destroy myself and become stronger. Because that element of the story has truly resonated with their souls. I love that shit. It's that emblem of the Saiyan. The destroyed who become stronger. Kintsugi. Phosphophylito. Ed and Al. You know, like, all these characters in media who get stronger by breaking apart and incorporating the new into themselves. And David is one more iteration of it. Put that shit inside me, man. I don't care if it hurts. Put it inside me. Make me strong. It'll kill me long term. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. That's life, man. That's life. I mean, that's the soul of living. That's viriditas. Oh my god, that word. I forgot that word. That's from Kim Stanley Robinson's Red Mars, Green Mars, Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars. It's viriditas. It's not virility, it's viriditas. Fuck! Viriditas... It's vitality, fecundity, lushness, verdure, or growth. It's the Latin for greenness. The greening power of the divine is in Hildegard, but I'm thinking of it in Kim Stanley Robinson. In Red Mars. Oh, whoa. Red Mars is loosely based on Oh my god! There's a band called Viriditas with a concept album called Red Mars that's based on a book that I love called Red Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson. And it's about I love this shit. I love the internet so fucking much. I get to just have an idea that's like, oh right, Viriditas, that's a word that I remember. And I look it up, and somebody else is like, yeah, you know, that idea, that's so important, I'm going to build a band around it, and we're going to make an album about it. And it's just art. It's just art everywhere, on every level, about everything. I love it. I love it. But that idea, vigor, verdure, freshness, viriditas, the desire to live, it's life itself. It's the desire to overcome. It says, that wall, that looks like a good stepping stone, motherfucker. I'm gonna stand on it, and I'm gonna get up to the sky. Fuck your walls. That's what life does, right? You put a plant in a box, and you put sunlight outside the box. The plant eats through the box and breaks it apart to get to the life. That's you. You're in a box. Break it. Fuck. God, I'm incensed by this. by viriditas, by the energy of growing. I'm full of it, man. Overwhelmed by it, man. Overwhelmed by it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Back to the comments. Sorry to get so distracted. The reason is because I got a message from my now friend in Nigeria, who may be a Russian bot. I don't care. And I'm willing to get betrayed by this person. I don't care. Because the off chance, the 1% chance that I could save a life in the process, or save a soul, which is more important, transfer this person from catfishing strangers on the internet and lying and pretending to be a girl in LA and turn them into like working, like cleaning floors or something, getting money, saving his mom, something. God, that would be so good. You know, how much of a ripple could that really have? You know, because sorry to bring it back to this point, but this person could destroy other people's minds by lying to them and betraying them and stuff. Could really hurt people. Could have really hurt me. Has really hurt people before. Knows it and is guilty about it and feels awful about it. Great. Feeling awful about it doesn't mean shit. But knows it, is doing things that are wrong, is really lying, and it really hurts him. As far as I can tell. Really tears him up that he can't live in alignment with himself and his desires. Because his needs and his needs to protect the things around him are so much bigger than his capabilities. How fucking rough is that? But I got interrupted by it, and I can't help it. It's so potent. But I wonder how much evil, if he continued down his path, and continues, he could, right? How much evil could he cause? How many people could he misalign or fuck their brains up? Or make them go, yeah, fuck women, they're all liars. Or make him go, fuck dating, it's all bullshit. How many black pills do you think he could spread out across the world? One person. How many black pills do you think could be spread out across the world? And then how many like life pills, green pills, do you think could be spread out if his course is altered? You know? If he can become a beacon in his community of somebody who's making it, it is unfathomable how much of an impact one person could have on the world in the future. It's unfathomable. Because people are all connected. And so if he changes, everyone around him changes. And if everyone around him changes, everyone around them changes. It's like, people always talk about saving the world as though it's impossible, and it's this big dragon, and it is. But the whole point is you want to chop it up into tiny little pieces, and you want to help one human being save themselves. And that is a bing, ripple, bing, ripple, bing, ripple, bing, ripple, 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 explosion. Because that's what happens in a nuclear bomb, you know? It's literally what happens. There's a chain reaction of people, not people, but I think of people and atoms are kind of the same, of atoms literally being ripped apart by overwhelming energy and generating so much energy that it's overwhelming. One goes and then ping, and it releases some product, and the stuff that it releases hits other people, or it hits other atoms in its area, bing, 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 and it makes them excited, right? And makes them start acting, and makes them tear apart and change and fuse and fission and tear apart and rip and form new products and become something different. And in the process, they release new energy, and it hits other atoms around them, and it goes and it becomes supercritical immediately, like immediately. So can I be the first in a chain reaction that turns all of the stagnant, radioactive, self-destructive people in our planet into something slightly different, a different isotope, a different way? Well, I said it before, the idea is compelling on its own. Whether I can or not, I have to try now. I had the idea, I can't not try. I have to. It's there in front of me. The opportunity, it's a trolley problem. I walk into the door, and there's a trolley problem. On one side is all of humanity, on the other side is my pain. Which do I choose? Do I let the train barrel forward and crush all of humanity and all the children of the future? Or do I let it crush me a little bit? Well, I turn the lever and I let it crush me. Fuck it, I'm strong. I don't give a shit. Run me over. Come, storm. I don't give a fuck. So I have to try. And you know, obviously I'm not the first. It's not how it works. But in order to imagine myself as such, it's like I'm trying to be ground zero for a movement of some kind. I don't want that. I don't want a label or a cult or any of that bullshit. It sucks. But I want some people moving. There are a lot of stagnant people who are breaking and dying and crushing the people around them and are literally radioactive and are literally hurting all the people around them. And if I could get them to reorganize their being, their atomic structure, their physical and mental and psychological being into something a little bit more aligned with truth and reality and goodness and justice and love, maybe love, magnetism, gravity, love, truth, underlying fundamental forces of the universe, maybe I could stop a little bit of pain. Because there's infinite pain. Maybe I could stop a little bit of it. That would be worth it. And then immediately it makes my life worth living. Whether it's working or not, whether I fail or not, whether I die in the process or not, whether it's possible or not, it makes my life worth living immediately. Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, I'm blathering. We got to turn our attention back to the comments. So, let me pull that up. Okay, back to the comment spotlight. I'm going to read the one from Laconic Kibitz. For those who don't recognize the name immediately, because I do recognize the name immediately, Laconic Kibitz has been in my chat and channel for a long time. And has been a frequent and valued contributor to the discussions around a lot of these shows. And I want to preface this by saying I really appreciate all of that. And appreciate having you along. It's been really good. And I look forward to everything that happens in the future for both of us. So let me read it. And I might get emotional in this, I'm sorry, but I'll just be honest. Laconic Kibitz writes, "Hey T, I just wanted to say thanks. I'm extremely grateful to you for creating your channel. I started watching you because you were the only reactor that I know of on YouTube that would break down animation and directorial decisions in the reaction itself. But around a year ago in one of your videos, you brought up the idea that if whatever choice we make will lead to suffering, then we might as well choose something worth suffering for. It's one of my core concepts, is that you're going to suffer no matter what. So choose which way." It's like I sort of imagine, there's a weird mental hypothetical image to jump out of Laconic Kibitz's ideas for a second. I sort of imagine it as you're an entity in... I sort of think of it as my shower or my bathtub. And there's a pipe that's pointed at you, and you can't get away from it. And what's going to come out of it is going to hit you no matter what. And out of the pipe is going to come streaming more than you can handle suffering. Out of it is going to come pain. And the pain is going to be cold, and the pain is going to be hot. The pain of energy and the pain of death. Cold is death. Cold is stillness. Hot is chaos. Hot is movement. Hot is ripping you apart. And both of them are pain, because you're a thing that's warm. You know, human beings, we're furnaces, we're energy, but we're warm. We're around 100 degrees, right about Fahrenheit. It's weird in Celsius. But we're right in the middle. Okay, right in balance between hot and cold. Okay? You can't control whether the water will flow. Whether the pain will flow. Out of that pipe that's pointed at you is going to come blasting like a fire hose, is going to come pain. All you have is a lever that chooses how hot or how cold it gets. So you get to choose in a wide spectrum of all kinds of the different pain of the world. You get to choose just how hot or how cold you want it. It's going to hurt like fuck no matter what. But you get to choose what kind. It's going to be the same pain. Ice cold pain of being alone and stagnant and doing nothing and sitting in your room all the time and hating yourself and hating everyone around you and not being connected. That's pain. Or it could be the hot pain of being too chaotic and falling apart, doing too much and getting destroyed, too compassionate, too warm, too loving, and overwhelmed by the coldness and the harshness of the chrome of the world. That's pain too. And everywhere in between and on every end is more pain. Well, you're here. Pick a temperature and get fucking going. You got no choice. You got no choice. You're going to be sitting in this bathtub till you die, and there's going to be pain hitting you until you die. Choose cold, choose hot, choose somewhere in the middle. Choose something you can deal with and deal. A year ago, in one of your videos, you brought up the idea that if whatever choice we make will lead to suffering, then we might as well choose something worth suffering for, right? Find something worth it that you really think is worth it by your own justification, by your own judgment. I think art is worth it. I think anime is worth it, and so I suffer for it. And then suffer for it. Hearing you repeat it again today compelled me to share the things that happened since I took that idea to heart. I majored in mechanical engineering at a decent STEM-focused college in the US and was one of the lucky people to find a job right after graduation. It paid well and I was able to afford rent, food, and savings, and I still have a bit of extra to spend on my own stuff. I felt pretty proud and accomplished since it was like I was finally an adult then. Good job. It's tough stuff. Well done. You followed the path a little bit. However, after about 3 years, I started feeling the grind and the drudgery of my job. I had known since my junior year of college that I had no passion for engineering, and I had accepted that I was doing it for the money. But now, even my income could ameliorate this feeling, withering away every I returned home to my apartment after a long day at work. So let me rephrase. But now, I would say, even though my income could ameliorate this feeling of withering away. So I felt like I was withering away, but my income was a band-aid, a buffer against it, right? A coating, armor. It's like it's fake armor. It's like, no, I'm rich. I'm doing great. Anyway, this feeling of withering away every day I returned home to my apartment after a long day at work. It was in that state of mind that I happened upon your ideology. I want to say something here. I don't like it being called an ideology. The way I think of ideologies are incomplete ideas. They're fractions of the whole pattern, right? And when you take just a fraction of the whole pattern, it becomes very chaotic. I think of Scar in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as an ideologue. He's only got one piece of it. He doesn't have the other piece, and so all he can cause is destruction, and that's exactly right. So I am not an ideologue. I am an idealist, which is to say I'm looking at the ideals and going, those are pretty cool. I don't know how the fuck to get to them. And I won't tell you, this is the way to be, here are all the steps and all that. I don't know how the fuck to do that. I know some basics. I know that suffering exists, and you got to figure out how to deal with it. The Buddhists have figured that out for thousands of years, man. And I know that the answer is self-sacrifice. The Christians figured that out thousands of years ago. Hell, the Judeo-Christians as a whole figured all of it out over many iterations, over many thousands of years. They figured it all out. It's self-sacrifice. It's the answer. It lets you be the one fullness on the Taoist path. It lets you be the in-between, the thing that is the dividing line between yin and yang, the soap, the logos, the consciousness, the element that divides, the sword of truth. That's you, man. That's fucking you. But it's not, I don't want to call it an ideology because it's not quite right. It would be like calling me an ideologue. I don't want to be, because that's a spiraling, destructive type of person, and I'm not that. I am a seeker, and I'm a shaman. I am banana finder. I point that banana tree. That's it. I point at the trees. I tell you that they're over there. That's all I can do. Anyway, sorry. I have a visceral reaction to it being called an ideology, because it's not even whole enough to be an ideology. It's way more indistinct than that. And I think at any point, if I make it distinct and I say, this is magnetivism or something, or like, this is Teeabooism, then we're fucked. That's when we lose it. Because as soon as you label it, you exclude all the other faiths and religions and theologies and ways of being and ideals. You exclude all the other ideals, and that's wrong, because all of those ideals have something valuable to them. You know, the people who've come close are like grand Unitarians, Unitarian Universalists. I actually realized that some of my background in, sorry for spiraling out, some of my background in comparative religions comes from the fact that my mother was not devout, but was interested in Unitarian Universalism. And we actually went to Unitarian churches for a while, or churches, gathering places, which, by the way, if you don't know, are pretty cool. They're about the idea that culture and faith seem pretty cool. Let's go find out about a bunch of them, and then we'll all gather together weekly for a sort of a sermon by some people around us who we think are wise, and we'll have nice breakfast foods, and we'll all sit around and be friends. You know, like church for a little bit more of a secular world. And I understand my mother a bit better after coming through to those revelations and realizing, like, oh, what she was seeking was that community stuff, but she didn't want to seek it through religion, because religion is tainted. Fascinating. Anyway, to return. Or I'll just say, I don't want to be exclusive in any way, or say, or put labels or boundaries around whatever these ideas of how to be. Because what I'm looking for are the best ways of being. And there are many of them, and they're different for all these different people. And so that part, the part that this system cannot be defined within the confines of this system, is part of the system's definition. It's a strange loop of ideation. You can't put it in a box, and that's part of the box that it's in, is you have to open this box. Pandora. It's a layered thing. It's actually really truly at depth, it's the concept of Gödel, Escher, Bach, is that at the core seat of our consciousness is something that cannot define itself. The thought that thinks about itself immediately self-optimizes itself out of whatever system it's in. And so in this particular circumstance, the definition, the defining box of theology or ideology or ideals that defines whatever I think is true, one of the ideals is that you cannot define a system of ideals ever that will be complete. That's the first rule. The first rule is that this list is never complete. Oh, that goes into the basics. Sorry, I have a document. It's called The Basics. And it's kind of shit, okay? I'm working on this. I'm working on this. So sleep, morning sugar, morning sun, avoid sugar. I just want to do rule number 1. This list can never be complete. It grows with all knowledge. There we go. That's good enough for me. This list can never be complete. I just want to show you guys this. So this is a Google Doc, so people can come in and they've written down stuff. And one of the things is definitely, these second brain concepts and stuff are very useful. But writing down time-sensitive goals is very good, and planning your day out is the next one that I have to get in here. And there are a couple of different iterations of this in here. So this is really the basics is up here, is this portion. You need to sleep. You need sun in the morning. You really need sunlight in the morning. It's bigger than you know. Go out in the sun. Get some sunlight right now. Avoid some sugar. Just get less of it. You don't have to avoid it completely, but if you're drinking it in sodas and juices and stuff, stop doing that. Avoid sugar. It actually spikes your blood sugar and kills you. Read effectively. Read effectively. Read with intent. How? Why? Okay. Train for something. Why? And how? Eat enough. Perfect. Read a book. Meditate. Socialize more than 0. And we're working on it, okay? I need your help because I don't know how to make this better. And this is shit right now. It's trash. It's just a little piece of garbage, right? But this could become the most important document in history. You know, that's the belief that I have here, is that a document of crowdsourced, coagulated knowledge about how to exist could become the greatest document that we've ever had, ever. So come help, please. Anyway, I'm just gonna put that in there. Returning to laconic gibbets, sorry. There wasn't an immediate change. Over the course of months, I finally came to the conclusion that I needed to go back to school for something I was actually passionate about and to develop skills that I needed to pursue that passion. My parents had been hounding me to get a graduate degree since my second year at my job, even offering to help pay for it. I finally decided to take them up on their offer in February of this year, but not in the way that they expected. As stereotypical Asian parents, they wanted to either expand on my engineering degree or change toward computer science, but I flat out told them it was going to be for game design. Baller. Let's fucking go. I managed to convince them to accept it, though they are still reluctant about it. Since then, I have applied to 3 schools that offered good game design graduate programs and managed to get accepted into 2 of them. The third is due to give me a response in early January, but either way, I will be back in school by next fall. In preparation for that, I've quit my job and have been manically teaching myself art, 3D game modeling, and programming in order to create a decent foundation for graduate-level game design courses. Man, you're going to go in, you're not going to have a decent foundation, you're going to blow your professor's mind. Go kill it. Go kill it. But, as a consequence, I don't think I can continue watching your current content. I don't believe it would be an efficient use of my time to spend 2+ hours in a day watching you repeat the lessons you've already taught me. Reasonable. I've graduated from them. Good. Thank God. Thank God. You know, our school systems don't work this way, even the worst ones to the best ones. They don't work like, yeah, I just stay here and keep listening to the same teacher give the same lecture. No, you're done. Graduate. Get the fuck out of here. Come back in 10 years and give a speech at the fucking graduation of the next years or the next generations of students. You know, Kibitz, I want to see you in a couple months. I want to see you pop into a video and be like, "Oh shit, this is where Teeaboo's at right now. Here's where I'm at. I'm studying game design. I know this stuff now. I've learned these things. This is what I come bring your information back. Go out into the world, man. Don't stay underneath the big banana tree of Teeaboo. I don't give a fuck. Hell, there's only limited room here. Well, not really. It's digital, so there's infinite room. But, like, get out. Go. Go. Go explore the world and come back in a year or 2 and tell me where the biggest banana trees are. So that our whole society can get richer. So that our whole community can grow. How about that? Man, I'm so happy for you, man. Top to bottom, heart to soul. I'm so happy for you, man. Keep it up. I don't believe it would be an efficient use of my time to spend 2+ hours a day watching you repeat the lessons you've already taught me. So I'll take that as a moment. I'll step away and I'll say, I agree with this. Good. Okay, great. That also means that seeking out deeper lessons is something that's important. But no duh. And as I figure out more of these foundations for myself, I'll repeat them as they come up in the media that I see. And I think that they're super important. I'm really all about those fundamental revelations or moments. It's why I love the kids shows, the kids shows so much, because they resonate and they tingle something in the brain that's easier, that's simpler, that's more base and fundamental. And I feel like that's the more valuable revelation for a lot of people. But for the more experienced or advanced people, they need more experienced and advanced revelations. And so figuring out a way to get the whole flow of those from the kiddie kind of silly, childish media to the really intense and dark theological, philosophical, psychological seinen, to the sort of like beyond that, the sort of almost a deconstruction of that in some of the Iyashike shows and some of the cute girls doing cute things shows, where it's sort of all of those things all together. I need to have a mix and a mash so that there's something every week that's appealing for people who already get the lessons of shonen, right? And we talked about this in Mushoku Tensei. It was like, well, a lot of people already know the simple lessons of Mushoku Tensei, right? Some of the simple lessons of Mushoku Tensei are, if you treat girls like they're people instead of objects for you to fuck, maybe they'll be your friends, is a pretty good lesson. And the lesson in Mushoku Tensei is, don't fucking touch people without their consent. And a lot of people look at the show and they go, well, this is stupid and you shouldn't teach lessons like that because I already understand the lesson. And well, millions and millions of young men don't get that lesson yet, and they need it. So we dismiss the simpler lessons at our own peril. And so what I love about what Laconic Kibitz has said is that there's no dismissal of the simpler lessons. It's just, I get it now. I get it. I've put a label on those and incorporated them and put them away in myself, and I can pull them out when I need to and talk about them or think about them or use them. It's a tool in my toolkit. And the tool is like, how do I suffer? How do I orient myself in a world where there's just a constant stream of pain coming at me? How do I deal? How do I cope? How do I move forward? And the answer is like, well, you move forward like Naruto. You move forward like Tanjiro. You move forward like like Haruka, Haru is a Go Princess Pretty Cure like character. You move forward like Hibiki Tachibana. You move forward like David. You move forward like people. You move forward into the pain. So if you have that tool already, well, you don't need the other tools. You got it. You've graduated from them. And that's it. There's no dismissal of the importance of the lessons. It's the incorporation of them, not the moving beyond them. Not, oh, this is so dumb, I've already heard it, but I've already heard this. I recognize that it is correct, but I don't need to hear new things. I need newer information. I need better bananas. And that's what you're doing. You're going, well, I've got all the bananas that I need. I've heard of this magical thing called a kiwi out there, and I'm seeking kiwis. Where are the kiwi trees? And you're out there seeking new types of information and fruit. Good. Fucking good. I don't believe it would be an efficient use of my time to spend 2+ hours in a day watching you repeat the lessons you've already taught me. I've graduated from them. Ironically, if you focus more on the animation, direction, composition, and themes integrated in a show, that would be more useful to me at the moment. But it's pretty clear that that's not the core of your content anymore. See, I don't know. It is still the core of my content. It just depends on the content and the day and the me that sits down in front of the computer and what we're watching and how it works and how it's put together. In a lot of ways, what I've done and what I was doing in the early days of the channel was I was exploring a lot of those things in the composition and the art style and stuff. I was exploring and figuring them out. I'm by no means an expert or well-versed in them, but I'm much better versed. And so it's funny, I don't actually articulate them as frequently because I just see them and think them through immediately. And I don't even think them through consciously. And that's why it's actually become harder for me to talk about art and composition as I've understood more about art and composition, because it's just in the background of my mind now. It's exactly the same thing. I've taken the lesson and I've put it away, and so I don't have to articulate it. But that's part of the process of being a teacher, or a shaman, I guess, or a medicine man, which is kind of what I am as well. A leader who goes out into the unknown and explores, and then points out what's in the unknown so that you can explore more efficiently. Part of the idea there is continuing to teach and learning how to teach most effectively the simple lessons as well as the more stacked on top of them lessons, so that I can point out all the things that are cool about the animation as we go, and I can make sure that people are getting that bit of the fun from it too, as well as pointing out all the things about the characterization as we go, so that people are getting that bit of the fun from it too, and just trying to get, play all of the notes like an orchestra, like a symphony, play it all. So good. Okay. Ironically, if you focus more on the animation, direction, composition, and themes integrated in a show, that would be more useful to me at the moment, but it's pretty clear that's not the core of your content anymore. Again, I'm not sure. However, I want to emphasize that what you are doing is correct, or at least you think so. I agree, and so I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing it, man. So I appreciate it. I know my problems aren't unique, and there are others out there that still need to hear your lessons. Lots of them. Millions of them. Millions of them. And if we could get 1/10 of 1% of them to give me $1 every month, I'd be rich. If these ideas could get inside the heads of a few thousand more people, I'd be fucking ballin'. How silly. I know my problems aren't unique, and there are others out there that still need to hear your lessons. Your content is valuable, so preach and pursue your truth. I don't want to preach. I want to teach. I want to point. It's different. Preaching is like saying, I know so much about the world. Let me stand up on this podium and tell you how good my ideas are. Nah, I just want to point. I want to say bananas over that way, but you're going to have to climb the tree, motherfucker. And you're going to have to venture out into the chaotic unknown, and there are beasts out there, and you might get eaten, but the bananas are that way. Toward the media. Yeah, not away from it. Sometimes away from it, too. Some media is shit. So preach and pursue your truth. Teach, not preach. Point. And lead. Pursue. Walk. Move forward. Because I don't want to stand in the back and point. I want to walk at the front of the fucking crowd, man. I want to be in the first wave of people who get killed for it. Because I'm strong enough to not get killed for it. Feels good, too. Feels really good. I'll be cheering you on as I pursue my own. Good. And I got the respect. I got my response to him. As soon as I saw this comment come in from Kibitz, I said this. Excellent. Excellent. Off you go, making dreams out of void. Pulling something from nothing. taking ether and shaping it into reality. Off you go. Go, fly the nest. Get going. You'll have nothing but support and respect from me. Nothing but. Love you. And Hoi Nguyen asks or says, I don't usually read this comment, but this really compelled me. By the way, do you think that doing the job and then saving the money for your passion is the way to go? So building up a safety net first. And he said, it's certainly the smart way to go. With the money I have in the bank, assuming nothing really changes, I could comfortably live in my apartment for about a year and a half. See, that's incredible. That safety net takes a huge amount of stress off, and my income is what allowed me to upgrade my desktop and buy a drawing tablet, the tools I needed to pursue my passions. Right? So it's important. Some work right now so that you have the means to move, so that you've got a little bit of a spaceship, right? So that you've got a bit of a cockpit and a mecha to go around in. That's some pretty good shit. The same is true for me, right? I think if I hadn't had programming, if I hadn't had the money that I was making from programming and the desire to pursue like VR and gaming and all these things, I wouldn't have built the fundamentals of my computer system, which are the fundamentals of what allows me to produce the content the way that I do. Now, I could produce content anyway with a phone camera, easy. It's so much more accessible now than it was even a few years ago, and it's wonderful. But the quality and type and style and editing of my content, I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have this spaceship that I sit in, this mecha pilot captain's cockpit that I built. So having that job to set it up for yourself can be really important, and it's an important thing because personally, my literally jump to would be just leap, just go right now, go immediately, and I still think that's true. But there's something to be said about having some foundations first. So fair enough. The tools I need to pursue my passions. That being said, I think I stayed at my job for a bit too long. I probably should have quit a year earlier so I could have started school this fall. Too bad. Well, you're a little late. That's water under the bridge now. There's nothing you can do about it. Just go. Again, back just go. To borrow an analogy from Sangatsu no Lion, having that job was an island. Toward the end of college life, I was struggling a lot. Yeah. That's a hard period when you come out of university and suddenly you're in the world. I was adrift in a dark, cold ocean that nearly pulled me under several times. My job provided respite from that turmoil. It provided stability and a bit of comfort, a piece of driftwood to hold on to, a little boat. A little island. I was able to rest and recover and recuperate because you get crushed in university and you get crushed coming into the workforce. So, yeah. But once I did, I realized there was nothing for me here. Even though I could survive here on this desert island, if I stayed here too long, I would perish in another way. Yep, alone, empty, and cold. But I was absolutely terrified of going back into the sea, so I stood on the shore for far too long. Looking out, waiting, hoping that a ship will go by and be like, hey, come along with us. Come along with us, and we'll bring you to civilization. We'll bring you to passion and skyscrapers and joy and industry. No. You got to get used to the cold of the ocean, man. You got to get used to the crushing chaos of the waves, and you got to become the kind of person who can swim. You got to become the kind of person who can swim and then dive in. And find that the oceans that battered you around and pulled you under, they're your playground now. They're your space now. You cut through them like a knife through butter. This is literally true if you learn to swim in the ocean, which I've done. I grew up in Southern California right near the beach. Not right near, but near enough. You learn to swim in the ocean, man, or learn to surf. And I've learned to surf. I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at standing on boards in general. Snowboards, skateboards, surfboards. I'm not good at them. Skis, rollerblades. There's no surfboard equivalent, but if there were, I'd probably be into it. I like those quite a bit. The individual feet. Boards don't do it for me. It's weird. But anyway, it's really scary to be in the ocean, and it's moving constantly, and it'll pull you out to sea. It'll suck you right up, and you'll get dragged under a wave and then crushed by this like wall of water. It's overwhelming, torn up, and there are moments when you get really tumbled by a wave, and you're in true chaos, and it feels like it'll never end. Once you learn to swim a little bit, once you get a little bit of confidence, you can get battered by that and get thrown into chaos and thrown around, and you just wait. You don't go rigid. You go a little loose. You let it happen. You figure out where you are. You orient yourself, and you start to swim. You start to swim. You swim up. You get air. And then you start to swim. You start to swim across the ocean. And you can cut through that water, man, and it becomes a playground. So that's what I mean is like, I was adrift in a dark, cold ocean that nearly pulled me under several times and does pull you under and really tangles you and really messes with you. But I was absolutely terrified of going back into the sea, so I stood on the shore for too long. It was T that gave me the courage to jump back in with knowledge, with a direction, right? Because if you just go swimming out into the ocean, you're dead. Because you will just be treading water, and you can't tread water forever, and you will get eaten by sharks, and the fish will come and they'll nibble at your toes, and they don't give a fuck about you. Oh, you were what? A programmer? Yummy. Nom nom nom, goes nature. Tasty, tasty, tasty. You were a great artist? Well, seems like you're about 150 pounds of flesh, actually. That's what you are. That's what you've got. You're a little bit of mobile dirt. A little speck. But if you choose a direction and you go for it, you can align yourself into a being that can swim across the fucking water. I love it. These islands are merely a rest stop and not your final destination. They are important, but don't get ensnared by the comfort. Once you've had your rest, get going. Laconic Kibitz, I love you, man. I love you and I love what you're doing. Keep it up. I want in a couple years, I want to get a message from you that says, hey man, I just dropped my game on Steam. Hey man, I joined a company and I was working as a junior programmer on this. Check it out. See, that's the kind of thing where, you know, fuck polling for it. I'll just play that game on live. Because we got a connection. And that game is something that I helped ripple into existence. It's all your work, right? It's all you. But I helped contribute to it somehow. How fucking cool is that? I think it's fucking cool. I love you, man. Get going. Okay, we can only do 2 more. Or 3. So first off, HTF says, let me pull these up so that you can actually see them. HTF says, have you ever considered getting YouTube partnerships so that you could get that join feature? I would love to support you, but I just think that Patreon is a horrible platform. I disagree, actually, and I'm putting my lot in with Patreon. I'm not really saying that YouTube Google Alphabet is that great. I do think it's that great, actually. I would much rather use YouTube subscription and or tip feature than I would ever use Patreon again. So, yes, I'm working on it. I need some validation documents because it's a little complicated because my YouTube channel is under Teeaboo and not under my real name. And so when it comes to like the IRS doesn't have a Teeaboo. And so they're like, who the fuck are you actually? And so I need to deal with some documents. Anyway, my answer is yes, I will get that going. I'm going to have that going. And I'll link it so that the same tier is the same tier on the YouTube and the Patreon, mostly. We'll see. It'll be hard. Maybe I'll need staff. Maybe I'll need moderators or something. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for the great content, even if it's usually 3 hours of random rambling and 20 to 40 minutes of actual reaction /S on that last part. Yeah, I mean, it's usually a lot of both, right? Mostly the random rambling is like, it's the percolated rambling thoughts from the past week. And it ends up being really valuable because I can't say these things right after the reaction because they haven't happened in my brain yet. It hasn't all gotten eaten up and pooped out by my brain, by my neurons yet. It's fucking interesting. And then 2 more. OJ writes, hi T, I've been meaning to write a comment for a while because I have so much to say. However, between my habit of watching YouTube in incognito mode to prevent myself from doom scrolling and my reluctance to degrade my experience with this channel to mere parasocial interaction, I put it off. Perhaps I am still doing so writing this comment, but after hearing a portion of the video, I decided today was the day. Responding to the discussion about lonely and lost people between ages 16 and 25, I am fortunate enough to say that I'm not sure that I fall into that category anymore. I definitely was a year ago, but this past year has been such a roller coaster ride of emotions and learning experiences that I can't help but heave a sigh of relief that I've made it out okay. Between the stress of exams and the handling of dreams, it has been a process. However, I can safely say that the person I am today is no longer someone who is lonely or lost completely, but someone on the journey to overcome that struggle. Let's fucking go! And as you mentioned, embarking on the path to paradise takes you there itself. You're already on the moon. The moment Lucy and David choose it, they're there, and you're already there. It's in your articulation. It's in the way that you're framing all these ideas. I can read it in you. I see it in the patterns of your speech and thought. It's already there. You're already there, right? How cool. How cool. You had an angle shift from you were drilling sideways maybe, or treading water, right? And when you tread water, you sink. And when you drill sideways, you end up drilling down. And you've turned yourself upward. And you've started swimming. I love it. As you mentioned, embarking on the path to paradise takes you there itself. Right now, I am in a really good place. But I had rediscovered this channel right around when I was getting here, so it hasn't helped me get to this point. Instead, it has helped me to become conscious and aware of how badly I can fuck this up and how not to. It's been really insightful in so many areas, and without delving too deep into details, I can't help but feel I stumbled upon a goldmine of knowledge almost too early in my life. Oh, there's no too early, man. Actually, that's not true. You could have stumbled upon it early enough to totally not get it at all, and then you would have dismissed it, and it would have taken you maybe longer time to come back around to it. It can be too early. I'm too young to have truly failed, yet I feel wise enough to not be anxious of it. So instead, I want to dedicate this comment to my pursuit of truth and my love of criticizing media. Let's go. Through this channel, I have more or less discovered that, hey, I really enjoy picking apart elements of the media I consume and disseminating that information to others. Go seek out banana trees and point them out. I find it very fulfilling. Obviously, thanks to your amazing methods serving as an inspiration, but you can find your own methods, man. As a side note, at this point in my life, I feel like I have too many passions I want to pursue, so I wish to tread carefully in picking the right ones, particularly competitive gaming and the aforementioned media criticism. Both are things I feel I was born to do to a certain extent, compelled. As soon as you find them, you can't help it, right? You just go to them no matter what. And people can be like, oh, but you're ruining your life. And you're like, no, I'm not. I have to do this. Or even if you are like, I'm ruining my life by doing this, you're still doing them. That was me years ago. I was like, I'm ruining my life by not doing my engineering homework. I'm ruining my life watching anime. And here we are years later, and it's like, is the engineering what's keeping me afloat, or is it the anime? Which one is my life? It's the one you're drawn to, honestly. Things I feel I was born to do. Good. Anyway, introductions aside, I would like to offer some real material of discussion in the comments. So one aspect I want to discuss is why anime is different from other forms of media. I'm fascinated to see what you think. As you said, many people, including myself, harbor a different degree of love and respect for the medium of anime. It just feels different from other forms of media, and for many reasons. The one I want to tackle here is what I deem as a distinct surplus of insincerity. I can't help but feel that lots of products of other mediums can come off as insincere and pandering, yet with so many anime I feel the opposite. Personally, I attribute this to the raw effort that animation takes compared to other mediums. I agree. It's actual artists actually sweating and bleeding in order to tell a story that they think is worth it, and they think they're going to fail. Every time they think they're going to fail. Symphogear is the perfect example for this. Purely a passion project, right? You can tell. They had no idea it was going to make the money that it's made. They had no idea that it's going to become one of the most popular properties and one of the most popular and billion-dollar industry gacha games. No clue, right? They just wanted to tell a fun story about some girls who sang music and use some of the idols that they loved and turn it into this cool multimedia platform thing. And so they, with sincerity, they bled and sweat and cried over that fucking show, and you can read it in there. And it's chaos, and it's kind of a mess. But man, it speaks to your heart. Because the whole story that they end up telling is it's chaos and noise out there in the world. And by holding hands and singing together, we can save the future. Like, literally do the art thing really hard and get your friends to do it too. And that's how you save the world. Yeah, a surplus of sincerity because they're actually artists and they're actually they're actually putting effort into the animation. I agree. Take, for example, film and TV. You can create incredible and true pieces of art through the lens of a real camera, but you can also pump out 100 shitty Netflix dramas and be rolling in cash anyway. And you can pump out shitty animation, let's be clear. Every time there's a boom in animation in the 80s and now with streaming becoming a thing, there's a boom of trash animation. Just garbage. But that's all experimentation. It's evolution. It's the great expanding, right? And then you put some hardship in there and it filters them out to the best. And then it expands and then it filters out to the best. And over the generations, as that cycle sort of breathes and you get more chaos, insanity, crap. And then you get a restriction. What survives? What studios get to live on? Who gets to be good enough, right? And what comes out of it is like, well, parts of Wit Studio, but other parts don't. And what comes out of it is like, Kyoto Animation is solid as a rock. They got their whole building burned and they're still alive. That's solid as a rock. They got something going on. That's an organism that's successfully producing products that the world actually wants. So it's part of an ecosystem, right? A mental ecosystem for our culture. Madhouse survives. Ufotable survives and thrives. A1 Pictures, with all of its experimenting, comes out with some good things and they start surviving and thriving, right? Yeah. I feel the barrier of entry being considerably low also allows so many poor and insincere projects to slip through and degrade the whole medium. Part of that is Netflix throwing out a bunch of money at trash, right? But it's exactly the same process. That'll slim down as we hit the 2023 recession, and we'll see what happens to our media. I'm really interested in seeing what happens to superhero stories, because it's about to get financially tough for everybody. It's fascinating. This is not to say that there aren't works of real and valuable art to be found in those mediums, but the fact is that it's a lot easier to get away with subpar techniques and effort and still create a product many people would consider watching, and many people don't parse their media actively. To emphasize my point, here's a quote from Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. "The good writers touch life often. The mediocre ones a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies." Contrast this with animation. You can't draw thousands of frames of animation and not give a shit about it. Yes, you can. Actually. That's the thing. You can. We've seen what happens when you do hyper-exploitative, like, pennies on the dollar per sheet type of stuff, and it's a huge foundation of a lot of the anime industry. It's why there's a lot of anime industry animation that doesn't look great, that isn't, like, bursting with passion, you know? Where you watch the show and you're like, feels kind of garbagey. Feels like they don't really care. Well, it's probably because they're wage slaves, mostly, who are like, if I don't draw this, I don't eat. And that's not where the passion comes from. It's the passion comes from the people who are like, I'm going to draw this even if I can't eat because of it. Even if I spent my last money that I was going to spend on a bento, I spent it on paper. I spent my money on ink. And I'm going to die. I'm going to go hungry tonight in order to draw Naruto, right? Like, you know, you look at the woman who's drawing Kimetsu no Yaiba, had this idea for a manga, her first manga. Starving artist at the beginning. Now one of the most popular and wealthy media creators in anywhere, is the fundamental owner of an intellectual property that's going to be resonant and in the hearts and minds of everyone on the planet for decades. Literally, every single person on this planet is going to know who Tanjiro is over the next 10 years. Almost every single person. Yeah, anime is resonant, man. Fucking sick. These animations have to be so patient and truly care. The animators have to be so patient and truly care enough about their craft to create the volume of work they do. Furthermore, I find bad animation is way harder to stomach than lazy cinematography. Yep, because it looks trash. On top of it being harder from the get-go, because we're more parsy. Of course, it's not like there aren't cases of lazy and insincere works in anime, of course. Quite a noticeable influx of them lately. Ahem, isekai, ahem. I will say that's because of the abundance of funding, and that will slim the fuck down as we get into this recession, man. It's going to get hard. And so I'll say this. Be careful who you pay. Be careful who you're giving money to for anime. And put your money where your mouth is. And put your mouth where your money is, and make sure that they're in kind of the same place, you know? To digress for a moment, I feel like this may be due to the medium these works are adapted from being light/web novels and the homogenous and pandering culture that seems to reside there, partly because there's an influx of money into it. But yes, I agree. But I think more than that, it's just availability. It's just that the streaming services have opened the door so much to so much garbage that it's just a wide open gate. That's all. It's just an open gate. And open gates are good. Open gates mean diversity, but it also means people that you don't necessarily want in your industry end up being in your industry. And so there has to be a little bit of a downturn. There has to be a little bit of hardship as well in order to filter out the people who don't belong. In order to filter out the artists who can't hack it. Which is an unfortunate truth, is that even if you love art, you might not be able to hack it. But the ones who love art, who really love art, and they aren't just going, man, I could draw and make money off of it? Neat, how easy, right? Because that's stupid. Nobody draws anime for the money. If you're doing that, you're fucked. But the ones who go, I can't hack it in the art, they end up becoming the best producers. Or they end up becoming the best, like, in-between artists, because they can't draw the whole thing, but they can copy and trace somebody else. And they go, I'm not good enough, but I'll be good enough at this. And they do it. Ah. I don't know enough about it to truly have a truly informed opinion very well, and I appreciate you putting that out there that way. But so I could be wrong. But I feel like the manga industry, which most other anime are adapted from, operates much differently. There are a ton of filters to the manga industry, and there's hierarchicalization. Well, for decades, whether you agree with this or not is sort of irrelevant. For decades, there have been a couple of publications, Weekly Shonen Jump, mostly, WSJ. There have been a couple publications where you can look at them and you can say the most popular things that everybody's looking at are guaranteed to be in this book. And there are publishers and editors and a whole hierarchicalized process before you can get into that or put any of your work near it or get anywhere near it or anywhere close to it, that you have to jump through all these hoops in order to make sure that your piece of media is good enough. And so it's not just a bunch of powerful artists sitting around a table going, what do we want to draw and make as a piece of art? And it's not that. It's that happens after it's already been filtered through layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of highly filtered, highly thoughtful, creative, market-driven, like intelligent people who are trying to make sure that the story is a good story and to make sure that it will sell. How do you make sure that a story is a good story that sells? Literally, how do you make sure that a story sells? You make sure that a story sells by making sure that it resonates with lots of people, that they care about it, okay? That the stories within it matter. And that's how you make a good story too. So Weekly Shonen Jump, whether you like it or not, is oriented toward making the most money out of a piece of media possible, right? And so part of that orientation means making a piece of media, and they have limited space. They have only so much space, right? So many pages per week. And so they have to be very careful. There's a filter. It's not an open door to be in Weekly Shonen Jump. It's an open door to write a manga, but it's not an open door to get published. Not at all. So to be in Weekly Shonen Jump, it's got to be just right. It's got to be preem. Choom. Your shit has got to be right. It's got to be resonant. And it's got to be resonant with the right audience, but also other audiences, right? And if it's not resonant with that audience and it's resonant with shoujo girls, there's a shoujo option. And we can get to see, you can go and get a shoujo manga magazine, and you can find what are the top 5 shoujo right now. You'll find out. Seinen, top 5 right now. Bam, you'll find out. So there's this great filter going on that's great. It's great. And so I think you're right. The manga industry seems to operate much differently. Also, lots of what I have stated about anime also applies to manga, although varying slightly due to factors like many being created by a very small number of people, right? Manga is much more accessible. A single artist can really be a mangaka. Now, usually at this point, mangakas are a little organism. They're a little office. They've got their assistants and their workers and the people who are doing backgrounds for them and stuff like that. And that's effective and efficient. But you can be a Rocky just doing the manga on your own for a long, long time. And it's been that way for a long time. And a lot of great manga has been written that way and drawn that way. And carefully, razor knife cutting the screen tones in order to create the gradients in the backgrounds, razor knifing them down and laying them all out with tape, and then photocopying them in and then sending them to your publisher and stuff. It's been done that way for decades. And it's pretty amazing. The amount of art that can be created and the quality of art that can be created by individual humans. And the fact that there's an industry that enables that and enables them to be paid for their art and enables all of us to see their art and enables us to pay them back for it, to the point where somebody like Hirohiko Araki, who is a visionary as far as I'm concerned, is also a multimillionaire who owns JoJo's. Right? Because the IP that he came up with is big enough and resonant enough and cool enough that he's a core of an industry. I don't know of many industries where auteurs and artistes are that well supported directly. And so I agree, man. Manga and anime is a grand filter, and it's really good. All in all, my point here is being that the effort that animation takes breeds a different culture in the medium, which exudes a degree of sincerity that is hard to find in many other places. This sincerity, which is apparent in so many works of anime, is what places it strongly in the hearts of many fans. The messages and themes in this art form speak to so many people because of how sincerely and purely it is portrayed in the best works of the medium. On top of the fact that I feel said messages and themes are more important in this day and age than ever and truly worth telling. I solidly agree. And I've jumped off and I've said a bunch of things that are like, I kind of disagree on this, or I agree heavily on this. A different degree of love and respect for the medium of anime. It feels different and for many reasons. And you say it is because of the distinct surplus of sincerity. So it is for many reasons. It's the process of the manga development and the iterating down. It's the collaborative artistic nature of generating an animation thing anyway. It's like a bunch of people have to work together, and literally they are all checking each other. They're checking each other's work and checking all the line art and like making sure that it's all the way that it should be. And then all of that is wrapped around if it's an original anime series, the storytelling process, or if it's an adapted anime series, the series composition and script writing process to take the piece of media that is this one story and to turn it into a visual story. There's a real thoughtful process that goes into that I think is way better than any of the process that goes into like, we're going to make the Harry Potter movies, or we're going to make a movie from this book. Hollywood shits on book adaptations. Now, Harry Potter is great. Lord of the Rings is great. Hunger Games is pretty good. But Hollywood shits out book adaptations like it's Sunday, you know, like, fuck. Doesn't give a shit. And, of course, Japan shits out manga into anime adaptations or light novel adaptations like it's nobody's business. But it's that process of collaboratively working on it. It really generates some interesting things. I'm going to add a couple of things to sprinkle on. One of the sprinkles is this. I think that people who are neurodivergent in any way, so people who have trouble reading social cues or haven't been well socialized, which I think is a huge part of it, haven't been well socialized with other people when they're very young, so 2 to 4 and learning facial expressions, or have had other traumas around socialization throughout their lives, which I would say is about, I don't know, it's like half the people that I meet or more aren't really excellent in terms of emotional intelligence. And I think that's a more learned trait than we give it credit for. About half the people that I meet aren't very good at most of the stuff that we're supposed to be doing as people. About half the people that I meet can't make eye contact with another person. Even if you ask them for it, it hurts. You know, you look somebody in the eyes and they break eye contact immediately. It's too uncomfortable. It's too impossible, right? They can't look at another face. And the reason I think is because faces are too complicated. When you look at a face, it goes like into your brain. It's like way too much that you're seeing about that person, for real. You're reading them deep. When you go eye to eye with somebody, man, it's hard. And I think that a part of that happens to actors on a screen. And part of it is that they're faking it in their expressions. They're actually lying. Now, some of the great actors can get really close to truth, like really close to truth. You know, in like No Country for Old Men, those characters are real to me, man. They're not fake. They're as real as can be. It's just excellent. Excellent cinematography, excellent filmmaking. But here's the thing. Here's my theory. And I ideated this in Sword Art Online Alicization in like episode 1 or 2. We have to turn off our brains to an extent to suspend our disbelief that these are human faces and they're human, right? And one of the things that lets us do that is that it's consistent, right? All of the characters that speak have faces like that. And no, they don't look like human faces. No human face looks like that. But it's a close enough approximation that we can just ignore it. Sword Art Online Alicization. And it's an idea that I stole from Digi. From Digi, who is now the Golden Witch, who is now Digine, right? Like, I stole this idea from old Digi when Digi was BREW, right? I stole this idea, and the idea was that the fact that anime characters are not human and are not complicated, the fact that they're just basically a stick figure with color, is actually really helpful for you being able to project yourself onto them. So you look at that character, and it's just a couple of weird lines, and you go, person! That's me! Is monkey! Person! And you see the anime girl, and it's just like, titty! Boobs! I get it! Hot girl, red hair. Me wanty. Ooh, ooh. Banana. Like, I'm not joking. I really think that there's something to the simplicity of the stuff. And here's my theory. Little kids, children, get way more sucked into movies that are animated. Nobody's talked about this. Nobody has talked about this. Nobody's speculated on this as far as I know. Animation, cartoons, drawings have always been the realm of children's media. Why? Because it's more simplistic. Wait, what? You're telling me that art is more simplistic? It's not more simplistic. It's way more complicated. You look at Disney animation like Hunchback or or like Beauty and the Beast or Lion King. It's like, this is simplistic. It's like, whoa, buddy, that's Hamlet. That's Hamlet with 1,000 bajillion frames drawn by different people. That's not simple. So why do kids care? Why do kids go animation immediately? Kids go cartoons immediately. They get them immediately. Why? Because the representations are simplistic. They're closer to the ideal forms. They're closer to like shadows on the wall. They're not as complicated. They don't blind you with their brightness. When you look at the face of a beautiful person, it actually hurts. It's like, ah. And if you look at their face while it's moving, while they're talking, and while they're looking at you, man, it fucking hurts. You want to look away from it. It's like, much easier to approach a simplified screen, right? Which is what we get in animation. It's like you're a one color person with like maybe another shadow color, right? And you got a line that's your nose thing, and you got some pretty articulate eyes so that we can see your emotional expressions pretty well. And we've got your mouth, which basically just goes like this so that you can, so you can talk. That's basically all it does. But where you're looking is the whole shape in the eyes, and your brain goes, that's a person. That's me. Weird. So I think there's a layer to it that is that literally animation is more accessible to our brains because we don't have to do all of the careful and difficult post-processing of reading human micro-expressions. It's just the base expressions on the anime characters. Simple. And that's why when you get really spectacular animation, like in Paprika, which we just saw in Satoshi Kon's works, you get really articulate faces that have micro-expressions to them, and it's way harder to look at. Way harder to really look at. Your eyes sort of skim across it. It's fascinating to me. So that's an element that I'll say. And then I think that you're right on the money in what you're pursuing in terms of the ideation that you've got around why anime just seems so interesting to you. And it's the studio system. It's the effectiveness of the studio system. It's the fact that blood, sweat, and tears has to be put into every frame of the dang thing. And it makes it different. And you're right. So here's my recommendation to you, OJ. I've got a recommendation to you, a literal and serious one that I want you to hear. I want you to take this big comment that you wrote. I want you to take it. I want you to drop it into a text editor of yours. Just copy it and paste it into a text editor. And I want you to workshop it for a couple of days. And every time you have a new idea, or as I've read through it and talked about it, add paragraphs, like add stuff, move it around, reorganize it. Turn it into something kind of coherent. Then go download Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. Blackmagic designed DaVinci Resolve. It's a free video editing program. It's the one that I use for all of my video editing. I use their pro version. You don't need the pro version at all. It's totally free. No watermark, no bullshit. It's free. Okay? Go get Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve and go start however you figure out how to do it. Just figure out how to do it. Grabbing frames and scenes from the anime that you think are representative of what you're talking about and build a video. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 100 minutes. I don't give a shit. Build a video where all you do is you somehow state in some coagulated way what you just wrote. State that, put pictures on it so that the dumb animals out there go, ooh, pretty. And write, because what you have written already is an exceptional essay. You, OJ, have written already. It just needs a little refining. You've got the first draft of an exceptional essay about the nature of anime and why it's an important medium to you. And you don't want to come at it from the perspective of this is why it's important. You want to say, this is why it matters to me. Go turn it into a video essay, please. Please. It might change your life. Because you might be good at this. So you talk about wanting to pursue competitive gaming and this sort of media criticism. Go. Right now. And that's it, man. Go. And there's actually nothing stopping you except fear. There's nothing stopping you. Go. Start editing. I mean, edit your words, edit the visuals, edit yourself, edit your ideas. Start editing, start producing. Let's go. And I've got one last one. From Titan Machine. To people that feel they have failed family, themselves, or society, you are still alive, so your chances are not over. You are not perfect and won't ever be, so don't give up when you realize you are not. People can fail out of school, have a felony on their record, lose limbs, destroy the trust of a great relationship, or fail in any other way. Refusing despair and finding a way forward is what makes these tragedies into stories of greatness. Greatness is more common than you may realize. Part of what's great about how T does things is that he shares his struggles and how he pushes forward. Not the vet, the how. People usually are not so open, only sharing their struggles with those closest to them, if at all. This is repeating T's messages, but they are truth, so hearing it again is good. You still have something to achieve for yourself. You have something to do for those close to you. You may yet contribute something spectacular to society. You are still capable of positive outcomes. You won't have perfect success, but it will be rewarding. Push forward and earn permission from yourself to be proud of yourself. Hold on, you may yet contribute to something spectacular to society. Tickles my brain. Something works may yet be done. Ah, it's from Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Some work of noble note may yet be done. Not unbecoming men that strove with gods. That's us. Strive with gods, right? That's us. Here we are. There lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, there gloom the dark, broad seas. My mariners, souls that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine and opposed. Free hearts, free foreheads, you and I are old. Old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Death closes all, but something ere the end. Some work of noble note may yet be done. Not unbecoming, so not ashamed or not wrong, of men that strove with gods. With ideals, with ideas. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. The long day wanes, the slow moon climbs. The deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in order smite. The sounding furrows for my purpose holds, to sail beyond the sunset, and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles, and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. Though much is taken, much abides. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, we are. One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. That's us. We strive with gods. We work toward work of noble note. We believe that it could be done, and therefore we are compelled to strive for it. And in doing so, we take our step into the great chain of being. Because Alfred Lord Tennyson got it, and he wrote it 200 years ago. And he wrote it into this poem, right? And he knew it then, and you need to know it now. Maybe if we all knew it a little bit, and we were all willing to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Maybe we would have heroic hearts of equal temper, and maybe we could move earth and heaven. Go. Fuck. God, I love this shit. I love this art shit, man. OJ, go make a video. Fuck. Ah. Titan Machine, thank you for restating the points. You did it well. I appreciate it. And to all of you who I haven't read the comments of or anything else, I fucking love you. I thank you. And I appreciate your support and help. Again, the videos are totally free now. So your help is the only way that I survive. And you have to make the choice to do it. So I appreciate it if you do make that choice. We move along toward the new episode. Episode 6, which we've been told is an interesting one. A number of people saying like, I can't wait till episode 6. Can't wait till 6. Definitely my favorite. Can't wait till your thoughts on the next episode. Gonna be a wild ride. Okay then. Well, I'd better be ready for it. So I'm gonna be as ready for it as I can be, which means I'm gonna go use the bathroom. So I'll see you in a sec, and then we'll hop into episode 6. Thanks for the cool comments on that last one, guys. Sorry for the 2-hour pre-discussion again. Seems important. See you in a sec. All right, welcome back. We are good to go for episode 6 of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I've been told that this is the start of the second, arc, let's call it. The second chonk. Second arc or second chunk of the show. And I'm excited by that because it means that this will be well, the last episode was a transition point, and then this episode is going to be what's coming next. And I'm excited to find out what all of that means because we've sort of set and established the status quo for all of our characters. Where they're at, what this world they live in is, how it goes. And now things get to go weird. And this episode is titled Girl on Fire. So the question is that a reference to the Denzel Washington movie Man on Fire? Or is it not at all that? I don't know. I haven't seen that movie as far as I know. So if it is a reference, I won't get it. More importantly, which girl? Almost answers itself, right? It's Lucy. Who else could it be? And on fire inside or outside? Well, let's watch the episode and we'll find out. How about that? So, in we go for Cyberpunk Edgerunners episode 6. Please support the Patreon. It's really important that you do that. If you appreciate the content at all, please throw me $1. And then you get access to the Discord and you can vote on stuff. It's a pretty good deal, honestly. Check it out. Let's watch Cyberpunk episode 6. Beep beep timer. This is overnight oats. So this is just oatmeal. No, down. Move back here a little bit. There we go. Oats, peanut butter, milk, protein powder, and some blueberries. Good morning. Flatline Merc, okay. So that's probably a reference to somebody. Wow, that's an amazing scene. Running, running, running. Nothing but desert in front of you. That's all like road space. Is this Main's story? Something Edgerunners? I feel like it might be. Yeah. Put some food in your face. You are a biological entity, you fool. He can't even do it. His hands are broken. Too far into the abyss. He won't do it. More! More! Fuck it. Yes, it is going to be enough. Oh, he's cyber psychoing. Oh my god. Oh man, that's me. Oh my god, that's me. So she's in the game, in a way. Oh, it's cold. It's ice. Oh, that's rad. She's doing stances against reality. Against digital being. And she's getting beat the fuck down in it. Oh, he's freaking the fuck out. He's losing it completely. Shit. You did this, dude. So we're seeing cyberpsychosis from the inside, really. Is that David? Yeah. Oh, and she's here. The mess of the tangle of what has happened the night before. Call from Falco. Shit's real, guys. Way south. He lost it? It does. Right? He's like really on edge. You're gonna lose your whole self, man. Him? Everyone. More! Mm-mm. Oh, he's gone. Oh, shit, it's already happened. His head's off. You better be ready to move, kid. You're standing next to a weapon. He's about to go. Yes. Right. Move, trash. The hatred, the resentment all comes in. But it would have killed you, bud. Right over the edge immediately. Gone. Poor fuck. He's just been running through the desert the whole time. He sees that no backward. No backward. I need this. I absolutely need this, because this is what happens when you go too far over the edge. And it tears apart everybody around you. Whoa. Say you can. Say you'll support me. We're stuck. Oh. Okay. It's bigger than us. Because he doesn't know yet. And she was one of the experiments, wasn't she? Something like it. Say it. Say you believe in me. Anchor. Anchor. No! No! Don't you dare! Don't you dare break that. Okay. And she'll die for it. She'll die for it. She's got great emotion in her voice. Main can't be there. Conditions done. Take it. Good. Conflict resolved. Hated. You hated every step of the way, but you resolve it. Let's go! Eyes articulated, all in line. Where's that hunk of metal? Where's that hunk of fucking junk? He's gone, dude. Fuck. Dude, we're gonna have to kill Main. What a stay. Ah. The sexy bits. Trust. Ah. Ice bath. You're about to. You just did. Shame. Her ability to fully connect is shameful to her. Her ability to compassion. She doesn't answer. It's because she was part of the Arasaka Corp. We saw the thing with all the women around. It's Minority Report style. Yes, you are. Okay, we're going with her, aren't we? Maybe that's the trap. No, don't shove aside that memory. I want to know what that was, and you need to know. You need to see that girl. Rad. Tasaka or Main or both? Who's responsible? We. Double TikTok, doggy. Because he's ticking against his own ability to survive. There's nobody there, dude. He's fully off it. David. We're losing Main. He's going gone. And so now he's gonna risk her life to find out this information. Say it quickly, Arasaka, you're dead already. Who cares? Okay, this is another vision. Great. Because it's his dad. Because you're special. Temptation. You know nothing. Ah. Trying to protect you? Stab him in the fucking neck, buddy. What about Lucy, dude? What about Lucy, dude? Oh, that's so fucking sick. Oh. Careful. Ah, oh, such cool representations. And she's full jacked in. I can't sell you out. Everyone uses everybody as a tool. I'd rather be used by the people I care about. Cyber Psycho. What? So it's a test on David. You're all just made by us, and he's a shadow in the corner. Oh, and she's gonna find out all this info. And they're reading his data. Is there a betrayal here? I don't think so. What just warped her? It's all connected, isn't it? Somehow it's all connected. Weird. Weird. Can't reach David. Decision time. He wants his mom back. Boom, boom. Fuck. That was his self exploder. Oh. Get your girl out. You can't just cut it. Cut it. And he's exploding. Literally, the back of his head just exploded, and now we've got Cyber Psycho against him. She's ice. Is she alive? Yes. You almost fucked up. That's not what he cares about. Yep. And Main's in a real bad spot right now, so he might actually He might actually kill you. You heard him, bitch. You heard him, you fucking big idiot. You're gonna get killed for saying that, David. But you have the power. They're here. They're coming. Bigger problems. So here we go. Yeah, I hear you, but you're gonna get dead, actually. You don't have a chance, Main. Sorry. Wakey, wakey, bitch. Save the girl. Got it. Going. Good. Of course. Main's gone. Shut up and drive. It went bad. Well, she found out all that information about you, so she knows about you. More! Oh, these are all Cyber Psycho feeling. Jesus, Dorio. Hi, David. Gunfire. Because I kind of do. He's blurring through. You two together. Bind yourselves together. You're the pair. You're the only pair. Main and Dorio back to back. One male-female pair, the other. You can't help. You can't help. Main's already gone. Drive. You have to sacrifice. You're the only ones now. It's you and Lucy. No, you won't. He's gonna go in, though. I don't know which one is right. They're both right. She's scared and she wants you. Girl on fire on ice. Yeah. She saw your death, didn't she? Yo, Lucy. Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man. Amazing. Spectacular. Pure violence is him. Faraday. Eyes of different people. He's not together. He's not together. You're gonna have to put him down, Dorio. He's going into the beyond. He's nowhere anymore. And now we're in Cyber Psycho land. That's Dorio, man. Did he just shoot Dorio? What just happened? Glasses shatter, okay. So she got shot from behind. He didn't do that. You're gonna be too late. You're too late. You cannot do this, David. You're gonna come face to face with the fucking cyber psycho who was your friend. And he's all blood now. Crushing. Crushing. He's gone. Oh my god! Hey. Huh? Is this me? What, did I do this? So what it really looks like is just jitters and bits. Hi. Hello. Sup? Oh! Oh! The flicketiness of everything, the clickiness and the lumbering. This is so beautiful. Full. It's like his body is not even in his control. Literally. The bits of his body control himself. You're late. No, he's going to go put him down with the gun that he gave him. Red and blue. Hey, bud. The eyes are gone. He doesn't need the glasses. Big bomb. A grand pyre. We gotta leave. Just where he is, man. He's staying. Done running. Death. I hear death. The Reaper. Max tack. Shaking. He's got enough brain to talk you through this. Listen, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up and listen to him, David. Spectacular. Spectacular frame. Not you, kid. No. He's gonna save you. Get out, kid. No, no dreams, kid. Get the fuck out. Remember? You've been here before. Exceptional scene! And he moves. It's what he tells him. It's the most important thing. It's the most important thing, the opposite of what he needed to hear. You can't do it sometimes. Get out. This is my fire, kid. My road. Smack. And that's the third time he smacked him today in this episode. Not for you. Keep running, bitch. Dip, 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 dip. Emotion in slow-mo. Watching your your mentor get torn apart. Running on into the open wild. And she's on call with him. She's gonna believe that he's dead. But He's just moving fast. Is that the arm? Is that the hand? I think that was the hand. Yeah. Big hand of the big lug. The big fucking idiot. The sun rises again. You're just covered in... Yup. Devil, man, tears. Best episode of the show so far. Best episode of anything that I've seen in weeks, not including Paprika. Exceptional episode. The held scene where it's just him breathing. We just hold that scene. The build up to and the moment where he says, "Aren't you going to say you believe in me?" And the moment that they build up to, which is Main telling him, "You can't do it, kid. This isn't your road. You cannot. There are some walls you can't get across." Ow. Letting you down. Early on in our pre-discussion for this episode, I find it so funny how this keeps happening. I keep having the right ideas before the episode. They always emerge out of the conversation of the previous episode, but one of the things that I said rather emphatically was the line from The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And during this episode, we come across Main. Past Main running, present Main running, future Main running. And we watch him as he approaches that precipice of becoming too far gone. So the same idea is, when you stare into the abyss, it gazes back. Let me find the exact idea, the exact line. Battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. And if you gaze into the abyss gazes also into you. Nietzsche. That's in Beyond Good and Evil. We come across Main not just looking into the abyss, but being overcome by it. Falling. We watch the choices that he makes in the moments where his ability to choose are slipping away from him. In the moments where he is least capable of understanding what's going on in his world, he makes the most important decisions of his life. When everything else is being taken from him, he chooses to give instead of take. And that is our representation of positive masculinity in this show. The big hand, the big man looking down at you. He's represented as a person in deep pain who chooses to strive. I could end the discussion right there. I could end it right there. There's all the emotional weight you need. But I can't, because there's more to talk about here. Because the episode is like layers and layers of wrapping paper with the seed of an idea at the center of it. An idea about how to be that's been expressed between Main and David since the beginning. An idea about how the duo can be that's been expressed between him and Lucy since the very beginning. Lucy and Main get into a vehicle and do a thing is a classic, right? Like, every episode we've had that, basically. Okay, it's Lucy and David get into a vehicle and they do a thing. So Lucy and David get into get onto a gurney and she rides them through chaos and it's beautiful. Lucy and David get into the car and he doesn't know how to drive, but he drives them through chaos and it's fun. Lucy and David get into a vehicle. Lucy and David get into a bed and into a spaceship and into a life together and they drive somewhere. And the way that they negotiate the space there, I believe in you. That's part of the thing. Do we stay in this space together or do we go outside of it and risk ourselves? That's part of the question that they're answering, and they're answering it in this episode, and we get answers to it in this episode. And they're hard compromises, really serious problems that they have to come across. And they do it pretty effectively. And stacked on top of all of that is an incredible level of articulation in art and animation and style and color and sound design and feel and vibe, and also precedent that's been established for how cyberpsychosis feels, how MaxTac coming in feels, how certain vibes feel in the show. It uses those things to paint this canvas and produce this symphony of emotional resonance that's very, very tough to watch and very, very beautiful. In the same way that I was talking about earlier in our discussion, that looking at a person's face can be very difficult. It can be overwhelming. Looking at this piece of media is a little overwhelming because this is complicated. So let's get into it, because there's only one thing we can do when we're faced by a sea of chaos, and that's to look before we leap, make sure there's no rocks or sharks, and then jump in. Well, let's jump in. Here's our representation, whole and biological. Maybe in a training facility. That's the idea that I get, is that he's a soldier in training or something like that. But he's whole and he's biological and he's fully human. And he runs, and it's just his eye. It's his eye running. And we're so stark in the color of everything that he's a statue in this moment. Like, he's made of gold. He's made of metal, in a way. He's bronze. In fact, that's exactly it. He's made of bronze. But this is before he's got any chrome in him. His biological body is already something worked and wrought of metal. I wrote a poem a while ago, and it started with a line that was similar to that. It was, "I am man, oak tree rooted, cast of iron, carved of stone. I've been out here slaying dragons, building cities from their bones." That's the start of a poem that I sent to a pretty girl. I am man, oak tree rooted, cast of iron, carved of stone. Now, he's a running man. He's not a rooted man, but he's carved of bronze, something like that. And he's running, striving. And he comes to this edge. And this is the moment this shows us. There's chaos beyond, right? This is all infinite road, infinite runway. It doesn't make sense, actually. You think, where in the desert is this shit? What the fuck is that? Well, it doesn't exist. It's just endless road that he's running on. It's the familiar territory. And he comes up across the end of it, and he sees that there's infinite space beyond him. It's just infinite chaos beyond. It doesn't stop. There's no goal. It's just the running. And that's the secret, actually, I think, is that you have to get in tune with running. In the theoretical sense, in the hypothetical sense, in the metaphorical sense, running is moving, running is life. There's no goal to it. It's the process. And in the stupid way, it's about the journey, not the destination, right? It's like, what the fuck does that mean? It means the process of journeying is the important part. Because when you reach a destination, you always go, all right, fuck everything. That was stupid. And it doesn't feel like anything. It's the process. And when you look back at it, it's the process. It's the running. But he reaches the edge of his rope.
Main.
And he's still both. And he's breaking up. When'd you eat food, dude? You haven't been taking care of your bio bits. Have you been taking care of your bio bits? And his hands don't work. Can't even reach out and grab food. He's falling apart. Destroying himself. I've known people like this. I'm like this sometimes. I'll get hyper-focused on technology or on work, and I'll go for a day straight without eating. And it'll be like 8:30 at night, and I'll snap out of my reverie, and I'll go, oh shit, I haven't eaten literally anything since I woke up this morning. I've just been working. Weird. But then, of course, you're destroying yourself. You have to maintain your bio. You have to maintain your bio. This shit matters. And Dorio's there. Fuck, man. You got too much chrome in you. You gotta refit. You gotta go light spec. And he goes, fuck that.
Can't keep this up, babe.
Fuck that.
I have to. I'm running.
A little metal ain't gonna be enough to...
A little metal is enough.
Nobody
But it's this.
gonna set my limits but me.
This is a man who's pushed the limits, right? It's all he's ever done is throw himself against a wall. So here's why I need this episode right now. Here's why I need this episode right now. Is because I've become really strong against certain types of pain. Like really strong. I've become chrome, man. Against certain types of pain. And I said this at the very beginning, right? It's so funny. It's so funny that the ideas were right there. I become too much metal. Or it's not that I have yet. I don't know if I have yet. There's a risk of becoming too cold, too metallic, too broken down. You know, you kintsugi a pot enough times and there's not enough ceramic and it's all gold. And now you got a stupid mess of metal that's not even a pot anymore and it's not pretty either. So you can't break it too many times. So I'm careening, I'm running straight toward, because I love it. Because I love it at this point. I'm running straight toward the edge of death. Every time. I'm hitting that Akagi cliff and I'm flooring it. I'm Gogginsing it. I'm David Gogginsing it every time. I can't remember which episode I talked about this with, but there's this guy named David Goggins who's a Navy SEAL and an ultra runner, an endurance athlete. And basically, from what I can tell of his story, he sucked. He was a real shitty person, living at like 300 pounds, in debauchery, making no money, hating everything, practically illiterate. And he decided, fuck it, I'll just die. I'll just die. I don't care. It's just pain. And he forged himself into a strong, stellar human, a Navy fucking SEAL, an ultra marathoner, an endurance athlete. And now he's sharing that information about how he did it. And it's in a book called Can't Hurt Me, which I have on the way, by the way. And Goggins worries me because I look at him and I'm impressed by him. Spectacular. He's like Maine. You know, I'm David walking around. I'm like, wow, this chrome shit's pretty cool. And I meet this guy who's like, he's got it. But I worry about him because he's the kind of person, he's looking at all these dragons and all these obstacles around him. He's just going, I can do that. I can do that. And I worry that there's going to be like a literal like wall of lava. And he's just going to go, I can fucking overcome this. And he's just going to step into it and go, rah, and burn to pieces. And I think that's the end game if you make yourself immune to pain. You just let yourself get torn apart by the world because you're too stupid to not let it happen. Like, for example, David Goggins is currently fire jumping. You know, he's making money. He's doing great. He should be doing whatever the fuck he wants. But he's fire jumping. He's like zip lining and parachuting in to fight fires in forests. Okay? He's going to do something like that that's smart and fun and interesting, and his chute won't open and he'll just be dead. He'll just be a splat on the pavement because he went too far. Because he wasn't... We need risk. Our internal risk aversion, our ability to go, whoa, maybe let's not get too close to that risky thing. That seems dangerous. It's a really good evolutionary trait to have a part of. And it's, if we just call it fear or cowardice and we just negativize it, then that's a problem. Because then you become like Maine. You become like, no, I'm going to run till the end. I don't care who I tear apart around me. And that's the problem, is that Maine starts causing more problems. Because if it was just him, if it was just him hurting himself with more chrome, well, that would be fine, right? But that's not how this shit works. And that's something about the world that they've built that's correct, is that when you put enough of it in you, it's not just your own life you're playing with, it's everybody around you and the whole structure of society itself. It's all of your friends, it's everybody that you care about, and it's your whole society top to bottom. If you futz around with your individuality, how much of an impact can you have negatively? A lot. A lot. I was talking about it earlier. You know, how much negative impact could that one Nigerian guy have if he continues lying and scamming and destroying people? A lot. How much positive impact could he have if he got his shit together? A lot. But it's something about cyberpsychosis. It's like your individual greed for power and resilience will take you to the point where you will harm the people that you're trying to protect. You'll get so much monster in you in order to be strong enough to protect the baby, to protect the child, that you'll destroy the child. This is Guts in Berserk with Casca. Continuously, it's his struggle. It's Guts' struggle. It's exactly right. I made it this goddamn far without trouble. I'm not gonna backtrack now. You can't rush her, dude. Chillax. So we see Kiwi in there, and Main loses his shit. We're unclear why. There's a glitch, and then Main is beating the shit out of her to the point where he may have actually fully killed her. I don't actually know. And he wakes up out of it, goes, huh? What happened? We get robbed or something? Nah, dude, that was you. And we return to here. I find this really, really fascinating, this moment. Where we're sitting here, and David is nude by the window looking out at Lucy's spot. The reason I find it fascinating is this. The beautiful, beautiful convergence scene happened, where they're like, oh, we're already on the moon. Awesome. And everything's still shit. Now, we're not focused on the mother's ashes anymore, but everything is still shit. And so all we have, you know, she's sleeping in his bed, and this is a glorious thing, but there's garbage in the corners, and the bed's all a mess, and it's all shit. It's all shit. Nothing changed. It's just slightly more livable now because you're with the person that you care about. You still have to fucking get going, right? And so we see David looking at a reflection of himself in the window. Brup, Falco. Brup, this. Brup, and she already knows, right? Just waiting. Hey, what? And hop in we get. And Lucy already knows. I can't fucking believe this shit. Why is Kiwi out of commission? Well, you gotta ask this fucker. Main punched her. He lost it. Sounds to me like Main needs to get his head checked, she said.
His head checked.
And he starts to move like, what the fuck you say? Right? Because he's being called out for something that actually hurts him. Because Main's whole identity is more. Nothing can hurt me. I'm as strong as they come. Well, guess what? As strong as they come still gets churned up by this place, man. You're still not stronger than the metal. You're still bio. You're still not stronger than the chrome. Next time you start losing it. Fuck. And David's watching. Whoa. Flick, flick. Whoa. Okay, so... losing it? Yeah. This is reality, man. This is what we're in. We turn to Main. More.
Main, hold up.
And we get this really whack scene. Everything's slight Dutched. So, I mean, there are straight lines, right? And then everything is slight Dutched. I'm going to just break down some of the framing and devices here. Everything's also cool blues. Even the yellow of his jacket is blue. It's green blue, right? Hey, Main. We turn, and his head is offset, right? He's all toppled layers, like a gyroscope. I actually have one. This is kind of funny. I have a little plastic gyro. It's like this. It's like all toppled layers. This would be in alignment, flat, right? And Main, his head is off to the side in one direction, like that. And then the rest of him is off in a slightly other direction, like that. So you can see it in his neck and head. It's all like, it's all broken. All his foundations are off. He's shattering. He's falling apart. And he's at an angle, and everything is Dutched. And it's almost like he's so big and so gravitational that it pulls the frame around it. It pulls the frame around Main. Like, it's actually this way. Or it's actually this way for you guys. No, it's this way. Yeah. This part comes down where Main is, right? It's like he's... like, you know when a big person gets into one side of a car and the whole car goes like, whoop? That's Main. He's gravitationally altering the space around him. Hey, Dorio just told me, but you're gonna be alright, right? You're not gonna end up like... Alright? Flip. And we see David is just like, oh, whoa. Because he's never been talked to by Main this way. The fuck does that mean, alright? Huh? Child? Not one of them? You think I'm losing it? What do you what? You think I'm... The fuck you say about me, kid? Whoa, buddy. Whoa. No. Get the fuck off my back. And he says, mind your own fucking biz for a fucking change. It's like, whoa, what do you mean for a fucking change, man? He's never said anything to you about anything. But this is where Main's at. It's not you. It's the internal of Main, and it can turn anything into violence, anything into evil, anything into hatred, anything into malice. And anything you say to him is meant to hurt him, and he'll hurt you the fuck back. Because all he's been doing is going up against obstacles. And so by calling him out in any way, by telling him what's really going on in his life, all you're doing is making yourself an obstacle, and he knows how to deal with obstacles. He crushes them, and he walks right over them. So you get in his way, he doesn't care if you're his friend. He's gonna step on you and walk right by. And so, we get the first of them in this episode. Mind your own biz for a fucking change. And we get, it's the hand, right? It's the hand that he wants from Main. It's the part of him that he idealizes, comes out of nowhere and hits David against the wall. Bam! And that's the first one. Okay, because there are 3. And it becomes you're aiming for my title, right? You're trying to usurp me, right? I'm the one with the power, not you. You're trying to take my throne, kid? That's not what David's trying to do, but that's what Main sees. My thing? You stole something from me. The whole attitude is different. And so, well, we get the heavy sit. And we get the song in the background. I feel like there's no way out. Is there no way out? I won't get the fuck out. I won't stop running. Not now. Not ever. Can't stop running. And we come in, and Main's internal struggle is rippling out to everybody. Lucy and Dorio are at each other's throats. David's stuck in the middle of it. And it's unclear what happens to her here, but she's freaked by it.
Let's call it.
And literally, like, it's like the bio and the tech all around him. So the emotional bio all around him is shattered by Main's own shattering. And then it's like the tech around him isn't working properly either. It's like it's all literally ripplingly connected. And over the course of the episode, as we do these splits and cuts between different sections or frames or areas, it makes this feeling to me like all of the people and their technology is literally interconnected, which I think is exactly correct, and I think it's intentional, and I like it a lot. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Let's just leave, man. We can get it. We can just blow this joint. We can just drop the Tanaka, pretend any of it. I actually think that Dorio's voice acting in this scene is not good.
None of this happened from the start.
You better knock it off! Hey, I'm not done with you!
It doesn't sell it to me. Lucy pushes David up against the wall and she demands something of him.
David.
Tell me that I can. And he goes, but I thought you didn't want to. And she goes, no, I just need you to tell me that I can. I just need somebody bigger than me to believe in. I don't believe in the me that believes in me. Can I believe in the you that believes in me? Is literally what she's saying. She's saying, can you be calm enough for me, dude? Please be calm enough for me right now. I'm not good enough at the moment. I can't believe in myself. I can't believe in the me that believes in me. Can I believe in the you that believes in me? Say it. And we're in spiraling, right? This whole frame is spiraling because we're in chaos. We don't know what is what yet.
You don't get it.
You don't understand.
We can't just leave.
Flash, flash, flash.
Understand. We can't just leave.
Arasaka Corp. Individuals being brainified and used as computing or something. And that's her in the center, I would assume. So this is the idea from Minority Report or something like it. It's some sort of bio supercomputer jacked in. And this is probably why she has the super jack in her back at the back of her head. And it's probably that she was built for the Arasaka bitches and she escaped. And she hides it because she's ashamed of it. It's vulnerability. Arasaka is always watching. Now, you guys probably know about this because Arasaka is a core portion of the Cyberpunk story, I think. And so, like, I'm close at least, right? You don't have to tell me.
Always. We can't just.
They're always watching. This is bigger than us. We can't just leave.
Don't have a choice. I know that. Say it.
I just need to hear you say it. I have to suffer. I have to suffer. Just tell me I can do it. I don't have a choice. Just tell me I can do it. So he thinks it through. Please, and she's begging him. And I thought he was about to really fuck it up, but he puts a hand on her and that steadies her. And this is a reflection of what Main is going to do, putting a hand on his gun later in the episode. It's all rhyming. You know, look, I'm sorry, but I
need you to do.
But I need you to do this.
I
believe in you, Lucy. And the whole frame has gone from spinning to not spinning. It's solid. It's anchored.
I believe in you, Lucy.
I believe in you. And she looks up.
You, Lucy.
Her eyes and his meet.
Fine.
Flash.
Do it.
And she's put into line.
David has to
I'll
come
do
with
it.
me.
And she's set. In fact, she's fully Gynax posing right there. She's fully trigger Gynax posing, right? Fine. My shit's established. I'll go.
And Main,
Hips forward, tits out. That's what's up.
he can't be in the room.
No Main.
Conditions. Take it or leave it.
My conditions, take it or leave it. I want her eyes. Where are her eyes? Where are the eyes? And we see Doria go, fuck it. This. Remember last episode, we saw her eyes and they were all halves and sections and fractals? Now they're ring, 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 ring. All articulate.
Till dawn.
All focused.
Don't fuck this up.
Don't fuck it up.
Where's the
Where is he?
Hell if I know.
He's zipping and zapping is where he is. Out in a nowhere land. A nowhere land that is also
Main?
here.
Main?
Spectacular shift. And the sound effect?
Main?
So, you know, I don't do that much of this, like, talking about specific filmic things. This shift back and forth, so we established the metaphorical state of the running place, the desert, where we run. And it's about as opposite from the city as we can get. The city is gray and dark. The desert is bright and yellow and blue. The city is all confined. The desert is open spaces. The city is all chrome. The desert is all bronze. And light and life and sand. And so when we switch and oscillate between them, it's like, whoa! It's like getting blindsided, man. And it's terrifying.
Hey,
Dorio.
Rio is back.
And we're snapping back in and back and forth. I will say, I mean,
Like,
grow
why
a
did
spine.
you-
They're talking it through. It's a hell of a sequence. Thank you. Appreciate it, Traeger. I don't get it, though. Rip. And it's a real rip. It's like, fuck, I hate that this thing is in me. Down into the ice bath. Why do you hide it? And she doesn't answer, so we'll skip past this. We just get this. Why do you hide it?
Yeah.
I'm going in.
No thank you, no anything, just I'm going. I'm going. And then she's in. And the expression is glorious. The way that everything shifts and clicks is spectacular. This space is fantastic, and I like it a lot. But I only have so much time. So we move in. Plan A, B, Z. We get the thing from Faraday in. And he's just there. Tick-tock. Yeah. And literally, right, it's all falling apart around him. Brrr, it's all destroying him. He's just beating up nothing. And Doria's watching him spiral into chaos. And she's clicking and clacking too. And simultaneously, he's waking up and she's pushing through. Why? Why now of all times? And in that moment, David's compassion prevents him from bringing it in and hopefully making sure everything goes right. And that one push, he doesn't push it, Main does. Okay, so restraint versus lack of restraint, weirdly. But it's not Main doing it, it's her putting it into him. And here we go. The host is waking up, everything's going wrong, he's not doing it. The guy doesn't say anything useful, just says basically some weird shit is going on, they're gonna kill everybody, you can help stop all this, become part of the thing, don't you understand that you're being used by your friends? And he's like, yeah, but duh. I've seen their faces, Arasaka will hunt them all down, why would I revoke your expulsion? It's because you have unique potential, and I see a valuable asset in you, I want to use you. A future awaits! Don't throw your life away. And interruptions occur. She gets to the data, she goes through, and what she finds ends up being information about David that we don't understand. They're using you as your tool. Arasaka will as well. Don't you understand? Who do you think made this happen? And what we see is a bunch of cyber psychos. And then we see David. It reeks of Militech. Well, it exactly reeks of Militech. What are they trying to do? Probably build a new breed of cyber soldiers that are based off of cyber psychos? How about that as an idea? That sounds about right, right? What if you had an organization of cyber psychos and you could just drop them on your enemies? That seems useful. Or sell them to the highest bidder. You will never escape our shadow, the shadow of Militech, the shadow of the big corpos. We made you! You'd be nothing without us. You cannot escape, sort of vibes. She goes through the information, and it's really unclear. We see these bits of data and details. We see that all of it's on file, and she's reading it through, and she's understanding and getting warped by it. But what is she really seeing? Don't know. But this is the part where I'm saying it feels connected. We warp from that climactic moment into main. And it's the same moment, right? So what is it that you want, kid? He doesn't get a chance to answer. What is it that I want? Nobody's ever asked me what I want. Fuck! Everything's shit! What the fuck? Everything is fucked. What is going on? Where's the damn trank? So he starts to wake up, and he, for no reason as far as we can tell, zzz, bam! And it's like a self-blowing thing in the back of his head. It explodes. It's to kill him. It's to prevent his data from getting jacked or something. Get the girl. So we get the girl, cut, done, and she's okay. And then, poof. So he's resuscitating him, right? Yeah, he is. Bam, into the heart. And that's why he ends up carrying him around, too. Yeah, we do get the little voice, from her, which demonstrates that she's still alive.
David!
Yeah, Lucy's alright, and he looks up, and this is number 2.
Lucy's alright.
Thwack, talk!
And for you.
And he hits him back. What the fuck what are you talking about? You're the one who did this.
Start, kid.
Hey, Maine! David!
Nope, bigger fish to fry. And it continues being bigger fish to fry. They almost eat each other. They've got a sig. They're coming. We're not done. We're gonna talk this through. And as soon as he says that, you're like, nope, no, man. We're done. Get it together, D. And so we go. And he's gone. Fucking platinum preems. Hostiles present. And we're in the mode, right? We're in the zone that we've seen before. You know, all Max Tac will be on the way soon, right? Trauma team is coming soon. Everybody, it's starting to gear up, right? The response times won't be too slow. And we get in, and it's overwhelming. The music in the vehicle is like, bah, and it wakes her up. He explains some of it. Where are they? What are they doing? No, we rezzed him. No, there's no point in the data. Tanaka was a bust, and it's like she's scared of them finding out what was there. There was no data. It can't be. But I don't know what really happened there. We'll find out.
Don't forget him.
Just took a jab. Not enough, dog. And then this scene, the way that all the scenes flow and transition, it's pure chaos. Flip, flow, and then whip down, and then slip into here. Bam! It's overwhelming. And we hear it. Okay, so here you are, inside your coat, inside your armor, inside your vehicle, capable of driving away with the woman that you love. You're ready to be safe. You found out that the mission was a bust. Now is the moment to drive away and save yourself and save the woman that you love, right? Because it's more than you. Now's the moment. And you're awakened by the gunfire of your friends dying. And he starts to get out of the car.
David.
And she, this is our point of connection, is their hands together. Is right in the center of the vehicle.
Won't pick up.
And we start framing it in thirds. So it's framed on the center, exact center line, okay? And then we frame it in thirds. So it's on the frame on the third line, okay? You see what I mean? Okay.
Where are you going?
I'm going to help them.
Dumbass.
And we switch over to her so that she's framed there and her hands is out of frame. We wait here. No. You want this, I want this. We have to compromise because we're together. We work together. We're a unit. We're a couple, right? We're a pair bonded unit. We have to make decisions together. We have to compromise. We cannot. Don't you get it? They should be back. We get another signal. Trauma's here too.
Means they're surrounded.
They're surrounded. Then I have to help them. No, you can't.
You can't. You got a death wish?
You got a death wish? Great voice acting by her, by the way. We hold, build. And this is literal tension building as they're holding hands and he's pulling away from her and she's like, no, you stay. No, you stay with me. We have to be safe. I can't lose you.
It'll be okay.
I promise.
Come back.
You can't promise that. We have to run. And he goes, but you hear them fighting. And so we're split and we're split. I have to. You're not you, dude. What did you see? I only wanted... He interrupts her as she's going into tears, as she's going to lose it. She's going to lose her emotions.
Yo, Lucy.
Yo, Lucy.
Ain't you gonna say you believe in me, too?
She's left. She does. Reaches out and grasps at the nothing that's there. And holds on to it, right? What is that nothing that she reaches out and grasps? Well, it's the force of she's forced into believing. But that's exactly it. He supported her up until this point in the episode, and he's like, goes both ways, girl. I need you right now, and I need to do this. Even if it's wrong, even if it kills me. And then we get a great smash cut between her smashing and the head exploding. And this whole thing is just a scene of pure violence and chaos, right? Black backgrounds, white impact frames, overwhelming, flashes into different spaces. It's all confused. It's all inarticulate monstrosity. Death, destruction, murder. He's freaking out.
Fuck you doing, Maine?
And he's shooting at her, right? Get it the fuck together, and he's not together. And we see these lines going past. It's like everything's turning into running. Everything's turning into movement. Everything's turning into light. It's overwhelming. And this is what I mean. Maine's right on the edge of cognizance. He's not human anymore. Not really. He's right on the edge of becoming nothing but monster. So what do you do when you reach the precipice? When you find yourself in a place that you know so well, but you don't know who you are. He's not even firing at real people. He's firing at blobs. And that blob is Dorio. And she gets up in so close. Close enough to get a jab into him. And it's unclear. His gun is past her, so he doesn't shoot her. But she gets shot, which means that she takes a bullet for him. And in the moment, spectacularly, for no physical reason, the moment that she has the back of her head blown out, because that's what I think happens here as she dives toward him to try and give him a shot of juice, his glasses shatter and he's clear. The part that's been sort of cyber psycho-y the most, blam blam, and Maine goes into darkness. And he just becomes a wall of rage. And in the interim, Dorio, that's the thing that gets through. And your boy is running too. He's as fast as he can be, but he's not fast enough. And so we return to what Maine is best at. Blood and gore. And he stands there in the midst of all of this. His woman dead. Kiwi gone. Nobody else around him. Covered in blood. A monster, more machine than man. And he goes, is this my fault? And there's nothing cyber psycho-y about him in these scenes. He hucks the Tanaka, or he hucks the Saka bitch, tosses him. And I love this moment. We get from blood splatter everywhere, so he embraces it. He chooses monster. He's gone from the moment. I love this guy just being like, oh, the platinum client is confirmed dead. Oh, oh, oh. And that's the fucking frame right there, baby. Pure grimace. His mouth is open so wide that it's actually tearing at his lips, right? His expressions and his emotion are so strong that they're tearing him apart. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. Monster. Dragon. It's all in him now, and he's one with it. and he's covered in blood, and he's gonna bathe in that shit.
This mess my fault.
Did I do this? And they all say it's cyberpsychosis, and it is, but it isn't. It's just flashes. And it's like, these are the bits and the bytes that she gets out of it, I guess, almost. That's how I see it. And I love how they just full betray each other. They're like, no, yeah, fuck you, later, bitch. Are you fucking joking? And he gets exploded. And then, of course, Main is like, no, you're not getting away. All of you. Worse and worse, every single one. Just the headless corpse tossing it. And it's just an overwhelming display of beautiful animation and destruction. I think that the best thing about all the animation in these sequences is right here. Wha-bam! Into flip, boom. Like hard motion into stop. Acceleration into nothing. And it goes into the twitchiness of the pistols and the gun grips and all the stuff. It's like, flam! Nothing. Tension, bam! Tension, bam! It's like, it's groovy. It really gets you. And then it happens again. So it's, well, bam, 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 right? It's like click, click. And then same with his actual movements. Flick, whip, pow. Well, bam, well, bam. Really spectacular. Also, the color scheme is fantastic. We even get it in the way that he's clicking this trigger. It's all the smear, and it goes click. That's really, really beautiful, actually. Just that. For-click, for-click, for-click. Fuck it. There's so much emotion in every frame of this episode. And he's this lumbering, like, big daddy from BioShock, like, hulking mess. And it's, again, I said it during, but it's really like he's not in control of himself. And I know that that's the whole point. But it's literally like the parts of his body are moving on their own. And so his legs are like, go. And the rest of him doesn't follow. It's broken. This Obari punch in particular. So the Obari punch is really an interesting one, because an Obari punch comes in through the eye, right? Yeah, up in through the eye, and then the eye goes past, and then the fist comes in, and the fist is what meets you. Okay, that's the Obari punch idea. Is big rear back, up through eye, and then through into punch. Let me pull up one. Just grabbing any of these. It doesn't literally doesn't matter which. Big punch. Okay, so big rear back, punch through, okay? That's the Obari punch. Oh, there it is. That one. Okay, so that's good enough. Yep. There it is. Okay. Up, around through, big pow. Okay. This is Umakoshi in Kashan, which I need to see. Big Obari punch, eye, fist, pow. Okay? You get it? I think you get it. Great. So what's wrong with this Obari punch? Because this is an iteration off of it. What's wrong is his eyes aren't focused. He's not looking at the thing. He gets shot in the arm, and then the whole momentum of it rears him back, weakened at Bernie's, but he's not. His head isn't in control. And it's just like the whole of his torso is what Obari punches through. He's not even looking. It's just a smashing fist. Spectacular. Spectacular iteration. Literally just gave me chills. That's why I just shook there. That literally gave me chills. Main has gone full psycho and their eyeballs on the floor and shit. Hands. Turn around, Main.
Turn around. Come back.
There's no turning around. There's no coming back. He's walking off into the darkness. Main! And it's exactly the same thing. His body is acting before he is. Before he's even recognizing. And David stops. So David's got the red light, white light on him. Red and white now, not red and green. Or green and purple. Because this is a different interaction.
You holding up all right?
And in this moment, we look at Main, and in the color of everything, without the light, you can't tell that he's covered in blood and he's a monster now. He looks just like himself. And he asks a question like he's just himself. And he turns. I came to back you up, buddy.
Dario's dead.
And he's just lost. She didn't make it.
Thing I can do.
This is the last thing I can do. It's a big pyre. A Viking funeral. We gotta leave, man. We gotta leave. We gotta run. We gotta go. I'm done. This is the end of my road, kid. I hear the Reaper calling my name, and it's Max Tack, right? The knowledge that it's there is enough. Max tack is the death, is the Shinigami, right? And David goes, no, it's okay, I'll fight here, I'll stay with you, buddy. I'm getting you out of this. He's just standing there. You see this man who's just layer upon layer of metal, forged on bone, right? Rooted, built, proud. That's what it is. He's proud, and he deserves it. He deserves to be proud of what he is. And David's struggling with himself. Stop shaking. And even the frame, this visual, the way that this looks of it, is actually the best that I've ever seen of anything shaking in an anime. So that's a weird thing to say.
Damn it, stop shaking.
And the sound effect is perfect.
Damn it.
It's perfect. The Foley is perfect. I could watch this scene 100 times.
Damn it, stop shaking.
And it's Trigger doing like semi CG to get the framing right. But then it's also, I mean, this has all been drawn over at least by hand.
Shaking.
This is exceptional. Just come and get us. Just fucking try. But this is like, come get us. It's like chest beating, and it doesn't actually have the strength to it. And Main standing there goes, no, kid, this is for real in his mind. We're gonna get out. We're gonna get out. We're gonna, I dream. And we hold on this frame of David until it's uncomfortable. And so we're gonna sit through it, the whole timing again. They're coming. Sound is happening. They're disembarking. They're running. They're getting closer. They're almost here. You know they're almost here. You gotta go now. You gotta go now. You gotta go now. And David can't do anything. David can't do anything. And then suddenly all the beads of sweat that have been building up this whole time, they move. And it's his hand on the gun.
You can't.
Just like his hand on Lucy. It's the opposite. And Main says, you can't do it.
Do it.
Sorry, buddy.
I don't. Why would you?
The tears come. Why would you say that?
Why?
Tears on the back of the gun. The gun that he gave you. The max attacks are coming in.
This is it.
End of my road, kid. And that's the third one. Remember I said there were 3. Smack, smack. And there's this one. And it's gentle.
It's the end of the line for me. But not for you.
Not you, buddy. You run on.
Fast is what you do best, ain't it?
You get his eyes looking up like, no. It's Simon. Not understanding. Yet. He's not the me that believes in me yet. He's the me that believes in Main. Who believes in him. And now he has to figure out how to cut out the middleman because the Main is gone. The him that believes in me isn't anymore. There's only the you that remains. David. There's nobody to push you anymore.
Just keep running.
And it all explodes. And his body's working on its own. And he's fighting and destroying and dying. With the woman that he loves there as a corpse next to him. With all the death and destruction all around. David goes into a slow motion incredible scream. And we can't hear it. He's got a slice on his face from the bullet put there by his mentor, from the gun put into his hands by his mentor. And he can't even be heard while he screams. He just screams. He's losing the first person that he's cared about. And it's the music that screams for him instead. But he's silent. He can't. It's too much for his damn human bio vocal cords to even deal with. He can't do it. He can't even express the power of the emotion. That's exactly right. That's why we art. It's because there are emotions that we can't express any other way. And so we see Maine demolished in fire. And as David runs away from the bright, bright landscape and continues running on. We have David running. And Maine in the middle of the sky. And then there's nothing. And all there is Lucy and her fear. And it holds here for a while. Waiting. Unable to breathe. And that's exactly it. In the moment where she almost begins to process it, she goes, oh God, they could all be dead. Listen. She makes the sound first before she knows. And then he's here. And it's her time to drive now. He's sitting there, clutching the broken pieces of the dream that he held, of the mentor that he loved. Letting his pair-bonded female, you would say wife, at this point, metaphorically, they're bonded. Letting her drive the car for right now while he weeps. And he can't even cry. He's just in shock. But as they go and as they drive on, and as the running continues in this horrible hellscape that is their beautiful, neon-coated world, once again the sunlight comes up over the horizon. The asshole. It doesn't even know what was lost today. And it awakens him. And in the process of awakening, he weeps. And he sheds that tear. Because he saw devil and he saw men today. He saw his own future too. That's the only way that this road leads. You're running the same path Maine did, bud. You're just continuing on. Fuck. And then this one. So I'll just put those there. How do you measure a man? How do you measure a monster? All love, all hatred, all of it. The good and the bad, we take it all. What an exceptional episode of animation. What an exceptional piece of storytelling. And what a time to be alive that I can witness it and share it with all of you. Fuck yeah. God, I love this shit. God, I love this art bullshit that we do. Fuck. I'm watching it, the inarticulate expressions of the most interesting ideas that I've ever come across from all the way on the other side of the world, made by some of the greatest artists of literally all time that have ever existed, and I get to watch it and talk about it with you fuckers. This is the best. This is the best. As painful and as fucked as it is, we get to keep running. We get to keep running. What an opportunity. What a joy. Just keep running. With love, peace,